Thursday at 5 to 7, they're doing a bourbon slash scotch tasting at Savory Break.
Start hanging out with him, you're going to end up.
I don't know. They were there last night. Not last night. You know, Rich was over watching the games last night. I don't know.
Happens to, I saw it on Facebook that he's going, and he was taking one other guy with him. I'm thinking that's got to be. I want to get hold of him every time he's going over. I'm going to go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Free scotch? Fine.
Scotch. I can never acquire a taste for scotch. That's tough. Oof.
Oh,
I'm not a big drinker. I can never do that.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year, start with. At this time, coming out of executive session, I'd like to ask for a motion, actually, to come out of executive session from the council. All right, I have a motion. I have a second to come out.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay, and then a motion to seal the minutes of the executive session. Do I have a motion? Second? The seconded? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Very good. So that brings us up to the regular town council meeting, 7:02, I think. Mrs. Lavoy, if you could call the roll, please.
Here.
Johnson. Here. Kerry McGee.
Here.
Deborah Bacon.
Here.
Glenn Shibley.
Here.
Graham Waters.
Present.
Nicholas Gorham.
Here.
Okay, and Mr. Spearman, if you'd be so kind to lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance for 2018.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And while we're all standing, if we just spend a moment to bow our heads. Dear Lord, we ask for your guidance here tonight, as we do every night. We wish for your blessings for 2018, for our families, loved ones, for our service members, our public safety officials. We ask for your guidance as we enter the new year 2018. Amen. And evacuation plan, sir, if needed, if you could review us again. Go Patriots. All right. Geez, it's been a cold start to the new year, that's for sure. Okay, President's comments. I don't have many. First of all, the big one is to send our compliments to our Department of Public Works for the outstanding job that they have done in this first week of the new year. Not only with their snow removal, but their trash pickup, going with the New Year's Day holiday, and then the delay for the Thursday snowstorm, not only picking up trash on Saturday, but also on Sunday, keeping our roads as clear as possible in a major snowstorm. So my compliments to our DPW, the staff, the director, and our town on that. Other than that, I have no further president's comments at this time. So Going right now to the next item on the agenda, we have the approval of the town council minutes, both the December 11th meeting and the approval of the town council minutes for the December 18th, 2017 meeting. We have them in front of us. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
I do.
Okay, Mrs. Carlson.
Page 22 of the minutes.
Of December 11th?
Yeah, well, they're actually
Okay.
page 22 of the agenda items, not page 22 of the agenda. That's page 7. We got that?
Page
22.
22.
Okay.
69, yeah. Thank you.
The discussion we had regarding the truck that, I don't want to call it a honey truck. Vacuum truck, that sounds right. At the top, I know I asked if Kevin had already done any applications, and I thought he said no, and then they were due by the end of the year. And in the first paragraph, it says, "We're not committed to anything. We haven't done any grant applications." I'm confused. Have we been approved for this grant?
No, we have not. We have tentatively been designated $200,000. Before they can award the money, we had to agree to how it would be financed. We also had to agree to the there's one other item, but we have not gone out and we haven't purchased the truck. That is still yet to come to the council. I believe we have applied for the grant, but I don't believe it has been awarded yet.
So would we have to enter into this lease purchase agreement and then we would get reimbursed if we got reimbursed by the grant? I mean, we're not going to do anything, correct? Unless we find out the grant is a go?
Let me look into it. I don't have all the answers in front of me, and I'm stumbling with the information. But let me look into it, and I can get that information and bring it back to the
Okay.
council.
Because I just, I'm still having an issue with this. I know I voted aye on this, but honestly, I'm having an issue with this truck issue, not going as a item for the voters to vote on. I know that whole lease purchase, we found a way to work around it last time with the sweeper. I voted no on that. I don't feel comfortable with this yet, even though Kevin does say that we could pay for it for what it costs us for a contract every year. It's just a very big purchase for us versus approving a contract. So I think I'd like a little bit more clarification in here. I know we discussed a lot, and I know we can't always, obviously, we're not going to get verbatim in here because there's no way you can do that, but I think getting some answers to these questions would be a good. Anybody else? Nobody?
If you could email me that, and I'll get it. I'll send the response back to the town council.
Okay.
Any other questions on the minutes from the last two meetings?
Yes.
Okay.
Same meeting, same page 22 of 69. It says all voted, and this is regarding the truck also. All voted A. I did not vote for that. Actually, a motion was made to approve. The question was all in favor. The A's have it. There was no question, anyone oppose. So I did not vote. If I had been asked, if it had been, the question had been posed, anyone opposed, I would have opposed. I would have voted no. So I did not vote yes for that truck. You can watch the video. It's on video if you want to see how the motion, how it went.
Do we have to
Okay.
re-vote? Do we have to do another vote on it? Solicitor Gorham? No, there wasn't a stay. There was,
I wasn't here,
No, Dave D'Agostino
Oh,
was
Dave
here.
was here.
I can't say I counted.
So there were 4 ayes.
If there were 4 ayes, then that's a majority carried.
Okay, but I just want to let you know,
just
all voted,
wanna
I
make the
did, you know,
notation. All right.
but it was, yeah, okay.
Okay.
But I just wanted, I
All
did
right.
not vote.
All right, so any other comments on the minutes for the 11th and the 18th? If not, motion to approve? Oh, I think we've already got that. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, all right. 3 approved, 2 against on approving the minutes. All right, next. We have council updates, I guess.
No, you have minutes from December 18th.
That's what we just approved, I
No, we
think.
approved our regular minutes. Then you have the joint committee meeting on the 18th.
Right,
I
that's
thought
what
we
we
did
just
both.
approved. The 11th and the 18th.
Oh, you took them together?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, that's all right. Okay, let's move right along. Council updates, Mr. McGee.
Yes,
District 3, please.
I also want to commend, unfortunately, our DPW had to go out on Christmas Day, which took time away from their family, so that was a good job. We got hit with a real good storm this past week, and I didn't get any complaints in my district about it, so I was good on that. Also, this coming Saturday, we're going to have a town council, a district meeting. We're going to have coffee and donuts. Myself and Councilman LaBassaniere are going to do it. It's going to start at 9 o'clock in the chambers here for people to come here and to express some concerns and discuss what's going on in the town and some ideas. It's going to be like a think tank. It's going to be done, a constructive meeting to talk about different ideas. So I welcome anybody from District 2 and District 3 that wants to come in and please show up. And like I said, we'll have some coffee and donuts for it. Thank you.
Actually, the last one, I did invite anybody from town, so and there were people from other
That's
districts as
fine.
well, too.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with
Mr.
that. Yep, okay.
Okay, Mrs. Bacon, District 5, update.
I have nothing tonight.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Carlson, District 1.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out in this crappy weather. I mean, after all, did we really want to be here for this? No. Okay, several things. First of all, the zoning board hearing for the gun range is Wednesday, 2 days from now. It's at the high school, 7 o'clock. If you're interested, please be there. I think it's going to be quite a meeting at the high school. Okay. Oh, and also that night, for some reason, there is a sewer subcommittee. And I know I've asked Mr. Waters if we could find a way that 2 town meetings don't take place on the same night. Now, this is a special zoning board meeting. I realize that, but they had already said a month and a half ago that they were doing it 2 days from now. So maybe the sewer subcommittee could have changed. But I think we need to have some sort of master calendar that we don't conflict, because there may be people that wanted to go to both. Okay? Okay, next, the December 18th joint school committee council and state legislators meeting. It was okay, this is all my personal opinion, but I'd like to say that I know we've discussed follow-ups from that meeting. I mean, we seem to have that meeting once a year. Most of us attend it. It's right before Christmas. We're going to change that in 19 to make it January, because 18 is an election year and some of people may not still be here by then. So it's kind of a lame duck thing. We don't want to be bothered with it. And but we never have a follow-up. And you and I have talked about it, and I think it's really important that, like Senator Raptakis is here this evening, and the discussion issues that maybe we've asked the legislators to look into, the school department or the council. At some point, we need maybe a 30-day time period where then we get a report back, you know? So we're not just meeting and chit-chatting for a couple hours. And I also would like to urge that we do have public comment. I know we were shot down again this year, but I think this is the opportunity for all 3 groups. Legislative groups are sitting there. We need the public to be able to make a comment, ask questions, and have input into this meeting. You know, that's just seems to me to be no-brainer. For District 1, sorry, District 1, it's been quite a year. It's been quite a year for the entire town. Did a lot of thinking over the holidays about, the word I come up with is that we're imploding. Whether it's sewers, it's taxes, it's schools, it's town, it's wind turbines and solar power plants. I would like to urge this town council this year and give ourselves maybe, 3 months, but I think we need a strategic plan in 2018, because I've asked the question, where are we going? And I think it's important that we look forward in town, not just for a 3-year budget, but what's our plan? Where are we going? Where do we want to see growth? Where do we want to see businesses coming in, welcoming new families, subdivisions, new homes? We are right now supposed to be having a comprehensive planned review committee. We approved the finances in 2 different lots. We don't even have a committee yet. What is going on with the comp plan committee? Where are they? They haven't been chosen. I know it's in the hands of the planning commission. Well, what the heck are they doing with it? Where's the committee? Do you have an update?
As far as I know, it's on the agenda for the 31st for the planning commission to go over the applicants. I believe there are 11 applicants for the commission.
Well, it's been on twice before, at least, if not 3 or 4 times, and nothing has happened. We've wasted 6 or 7 months at this point. We're paying a consulting firm for nothing. I certainly hope we're going to get our money's worth, because our comp plan is out of compliance with the state.
Our planning director is encouraging the planning commission to move forward with the applicant reviews, and I know it's probably 2 months ago now that we advertised for applicants, maybe 3 months ago. Was it longer?
Longer. And I know several people who have put applications in.
Okay.
But I think this town council has an obligation, because of everything that's been going on, to come up with a strategic plan. As you and I have discussed, it's time. Where are we going? I know Mr. LeBassiniere has always been concerned about economic growth and businesses in town, and I think it's time we do something. I'm trying to protect District 1, Western Coventry Green. Well, if we don't have a comp plan, then the last thing that the Planning Commission approved is in direct violation of the comprehensive plan. And something needs to be done about it. And I think that's probably it for a change.
Okay, thank you for your District 1 report. Mr. LeBassiniere.
District 2, Happy New Year, everyone. Just like to reiterate again our meeting town hall session on Saturday morning. Mr. McGee and myself will host that, and it's open to anybody who would like to come in, and let's talk about some solutions and some things that we've got in front of us for 2018. Thanks. That's it.
Okay. And we also, Mr. Waters, you might want to just reemphasize, I know I've read it a few times, that you and Mr. Levis are going to be meeting on January 20th, which is before our next council meeting.
Yes, that's correct.
Just to reemphasize that, I know I've seen it noted several times in the Kent County Times.
We're meeting at the Parks and Rec facility building on Flat River Road.
And that's in the morning also?
Yes, that's from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Okay.
It'll probably last longer than that. There's no agenda. The previous open forums that we've had, we've gotten up there, introduced ourselves, and then we open up to questions from the residents. There's no restrictions on which town residents can attend. It's it's town-wide, no specific district. And it's just a listening session for the town manager and the school superintendent to have direct connection to the residents of the town.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, I just
It's
forgot, if I may, just
January
add
20th.
something real quick.
January 20th was Saturday morning, right?
That's correct.
Yes, yeah, Mr. McGee.
I
go
know
ahead.
a couple months back, I did say that I was going to put an article in the reminder to remind the people, and unbeknown to me, it used to be Saturday afternoon was a deadline, and it is now Friday afternoon, so I did not get it in on time, so Mr. LaBassiniere is going to put it on social media, and I'd like to urge anybody to tell their friends about it and get it out, because it will not unfortunately appear in the reminder this week. Thank you.
Okay, very good. And there is a matter later on concerning District 4 that we'll get to, so I won't emphasize that now in any report, but that's later on in the agenda. So that's the council district updates. Next, we have item 5. Mr. Waters, if you'd like to lead into that, page 35, I guess.
Sure.
That's how it starts off.
The next item on the agenda is discussion and action for a resolution waiving Chapter 56 bidding requirements to approve Citron Cooperman and Company to audit the town's sewer enterprise fund and program. This was a request originally brought to the town by Councilman Bacon to have an audit of the sewer program and the sewer fund. I heard from a number of other town council members who are interested in this as well, to not only look at the finances, but look how the program is implemented in general, look at all the problems that have come up in the past, and help us solve our sewer issues with the finances and with the program, how we have it laid out, and propose some solutions. So I have representatives from Citron Cooperman here tonight. If there's any questions or additions,
Okay.
what I have distributed to the town council over the last couple of weeks is a proposal that they submitted. Additionally, in the proposal, it has specifically what they will be looking at. But at this time, if the council has questions, feel free.
I do actually have a request.
Sure.
Given the magnitude of this program, and the several requests that I have made for a forensic audit and a performance audit of the entire sewer program and its financials, I would really like to have public comment regarding this before we make any type of a decision tonight. So if we could extend public comment for this before we make a vote tonight.
I'll leave that up to the council.
Okay, I understand the request. Any other, we have the resolution in front of us. We have volumes of information, and I just have another question for the town manager. This organization that you have, you've met with, correct?
Correct.
And they have...
Bob Tebow, the finance director, myself, and our town solicitor
Okay.
met with them to go over what we felt were areas that they needed to examine.
all right.
It's laid out in the proposal.
Yes, and they're also, as far as the, purchase agreement or the master purchase agreement.
Yep.
So, and we have the list of the other cities and towns where they've worked, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, in other words, I'm not saying public comment isn't important, but this is a recommendation from the town manager to the town council for a vote. And it's clearly stated what they're going to bring to the table, the relative costs to do the work, not to exceed $37,000. So individual comments, I don't see necessarily the benefit of it, but I'm not going to say no initially.
Okay.
And I'll entertain a few questions regarding the proposal that we have in front of us as elected council people. So I guess unless you have any other comments as vice president?
What I would like to do is, we've probably got some questions for Citron and Cooperman.
Right. Well, that
which is
also-
why they were brought here to.
Okay, well, maybe we should start that way, because maybe by talking with them, if they're, you know, they may answer questions before others ask the questions. I think that's an excellent idea. Hadn't, you know, thought of that. So, good evening, lady and gentlemen.
This is,
Maybe you could introduce them,
sure.
Mr. Waters?
I first reached out to Mr. Jeremiah by email, and
Good evening.
Mitzi, I'm sorry, I forgot your last name, and I'll have it in front of me. Hollenbeck. Both with Citron Cooperman, and actually Citron Cooperman, before it became Citron Cooperman, do you want to give a little bit of background about your history in Rhode Island?
Sure. Before we joined Citron Cooperman in September.
Yeah, you could just talk directly into the mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we,
Or bend it down. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So, before we joined Citron Cooperman in September of 2016, we were known in the community as LGC&D LLP. So, and LGC&D was a regional firm here located in Providence. Citron Cooperman is a top 25 firm within the U.S., primarily with offices in the Northeast. So our experience that you see in our proposal includes our experience not only with Citron Cooperman, but with LGC&D. So we've been servicing governmental entities, including component units of the state of Rhode Island, as well as local municipalities and their component units for about 35 years. So
Okay.
we provide, you know, audit services, consulting services, and a variety of different services. We also work with the Office of Internal Audit of the state of Rhode Island, assisting them with performing performance audits as well as internal audits of several of the departments and/or component units of the state. So Mitzi Hollenbeck is a partner with Citron Cooperman, as I am also.
All right, thank you. Anything to add as far as,
Certainly. So I know it's in the proposal as well, but I started out my career in the Governmental Accounting Standards Board in really setting accounting standards for state and local governments. I'm also a certified fraud examiner, as well as being a certified public accountant. So I actually head up the litigation support practice as well, and forensic support practice in the Braintree office of Massachusetts as well. I'm an elected official, so I feel your pain, which I understand, you know, is a difficult decision, a difficult job that you have in front of you.
Right.
And what I think you're really looking for is to get objective information based upon facts and situations that we can obtain from the information that you have in the past, so that you can make a better decision moving forward. That is, you know, part of what we're proposing to you in our proposal as well, is to give you that information to maybe try to alleviate some of the concerns or uncertainties that have happened in the program that dates back for over 10 years at this point.
okay. And you're located with Boston Street in Providence?
So my office is in Braintree, Massachusetts.
Well,
so
that's
I'm
what
out
I
of
was
that
gonna
office,
ask
but
next.
Waybosset, yes.
I see.
In our offices in Providence.
I see, okay. So it's a sort of like a regional group, at least the reach out is. And could I ask, are you, not that it really matters, are you elected in Rhode Island or?
I'm elected in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts?
So I'm a selectman, one of three in the town
Wow.
of Lakeville, Massachusetts.
What city, please?
Lakeville.
Oh, Lakeville, all right, very
And,
good.
You know, in that capacity,
Yeah, Lakeville,
I've
wow.
dealt with, you know, we had issues regarding our water program,
Right. Mm-hmm.
our enterprise fund as well. We ended up selling our water tower to the neighboring city of Taunton after doing an investigation of the costs related to it,
Right.
realizing that the town was unable to look at it from a sustainability standpoint and maintain that debt service payment.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you. Questions of the individual council people of our guests tonight? Anyone? Yes, Mrs. Bacons?
Hi, welcome. I know that this is going to be a busy time for you coming up. Being CPAs, this is going to be a very busy time, so I have been the council person that has been requesting a forensic audit and a performance audit of the entire sewer program. Your proposal that I have, the proposed services, I don't see anywhere in here where it states audit. I see it in our resolution, but this is basically what I am seeing. You're going to assist, you're reviewing documents, and you just said about 10 years. This program has been in effect more than 10 years. It needs to go from the very beginning to where we are right now. I also noticed that you would be reviewing town council minutes where there's discussion during town council voted upon matters related to town's existing sewer projects made available to you. We had presentations at there. I also am concerned that you're not reviewing all of the sewer subcommittee minutes. That is not in here either. I just see that this is very narrowed. So is this a true forensic audit and performance audit of the entire sewer program? You can get that done in 3 months. Because what I'm reading here, this does not look like a forensic audit and a performance audit of the entire program and all the financials.
Sorry, before.
go ahead, Mr. Waters.
Part of what I wanted tonight was to get some feedback from the council. If there is additional items that you'd like for them to review, this is also why it's coming before the council as well.
Right. And of course, the more you'd investigate, the more costly it would be, and the time consuming, and everything else, which is all relative. But again, this is the reason that's here before us, to have individual council members make possible suggestions that will eventually get voted on. Whether we go that way or not, and whether we want to spend that kind of money or not, according to our town manager and our finance director and our 5 elected council people. That's why we're here tonight on that.
I understand
Okay.
that, but I have also for
Yeah, I know.
about 6 months have been requesting to have this put on the agenda. I don't know why it came on the agenda now, and now it just seems like this is going to be a rushed job, and I want to make sure if we're going to do this, we need to do this right. We have millions of dollars we have spent for only, 640 people to be hooked up to sewers. We are looking at a lot of money here. We need to do this right, and if we're going to do it, we need to go
Okay.
from the very beginning to where we are now. And and what I'm seeing here, it's just an overview. They're going to be looking at Weston and Sampson, getting information from them. We already have all of that. I want someone to come in unbiased, independent, to look from the beginning to the end, and I don't think that can be accomplished from now until mid-April. I really don't see that in here at all. And like I said, I don't see audit. I don't see them mentioning anything about using the Yellow Book standards. I'm just a little concerned that this is not what the town should be spending the money on right now. I think we need a full audit. And is this a full audit?
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Question asked.
there's a kind of a misconception about what an audit generally entails and exactly the costs associated with the audit. And if I step back to just in general with professional standards, there are a lot of checklists involved in an audit. So there's a lot of things in your typical town audit that you're paying for that add zero value to what you're actually receiving for information. What was presented to us was a request to have exactly what you're looking for. And when I had mentioned, and I apologize if it didn't come through the microphone, but I had said it over 10 years for the duration of the program, because we were told that it went back to, I believe it was 1999, so it was well over.
1983.
So I think when we were looking at the information it was presented was maybe from the last time that we had, I know town council was telling us something about 1999, I'm not looking at my notes right now. But regardless, it's the difference between having an audit and a forensic audit would be astronomical in terms of cost, and the value that you would be receiving would not be worth it.
No.
So I think, and the timeline for it as well would be much longer than what we're proposing. So what we're asking of you, and through this proposal, is really to find out exactly what it is that you're looking for the review of the sewer program. That encompasses looking through all of the documentation that is available out there, but also going through and digging deep into the general ledger and looking at all the receipts that have come through, looking at the application of payments, making sure that funds that have been that are designated for sewer assessments have actually gone through to the sewer assessment debt service that they're supposed to go through. We're looking at the rates and taking a look at those to make sure that they're appropriate, that they're sustainable, that any past, looking at the IMA with West Warwick, to look at all of the clauses in there to see what are the things that you're actually paying for that you may not know that you're paying for, or you may know it, but are you reviewing those items as well? It's an overview. When I talk about the forensic side too, the issue with the forensic side is that if you do dig, you kind of need to have an overview first, I guess I would say, to see if there is anything from a forensic perspective. And I guess I'd like to know what the goal is from the forensic side versus an investigation looking into the detail of all of the history of it, because I think that people get a little hung up with blame and placing blame with the forensic side. And what our job is here is to present you with all of the information in a well-organized format so that you can make an informed decision about where you were, where you are, and where you're going with this program.
Okay, and that, I do appreciate that, but I think, like I said, with the scope of work that is here, it is just, it keeps mentioning current it's all current. I have to understand, I mean, we had several projects, there have been a lot of money that, I mean, just like the Anthony Mill, I mean, that's not even mentioned in here, looking at what happened there. There are, it appears to me you're being narrowed to one pathway. I mean, it talks about creating a position for the sewer, for a sewer, I can't find it right here, right at the moment, but like a sewer superintendent. I'd actually, and this isn't for you, but I don't know who on the town side, I mean, I have been requesting this audit, and I was never contacted that this was going to be on the agenda. I've asked several times. It would have been, I don't know, did any council members help write the proposed services? I don't know.
No, this was actually, the council was notified in my recent report to the council about the possibility of this coming forward. I asked for council input through my reports. I heard from yourself as well as, I don't recall whomever else, but other council members say, maybe an audit's a good idea. I heard that a forensic audit is a bit much, but maybe an audit to help us find solutions. I know both Bob Tebow and I feel that it's appropriate in the fact that we're overwhelmed with other work and we can't really sit down and plot out a proper course to help resolve the issue. So having this outside help is also beneficial to the staff as well.
So I guess my question to you, when you do just a performance audit of an entire sewer program and all of its financials going back from 1983 to the present, during your busiest season, you can get that done in 4 months? Or is it more where it usually takes 12 months? I mean, what is the normal time frame for doing a very detailed performance audit? Because what I'm reading here is you're going to come back and give us something, and I don't even know what you're giving us in April.
If I may.
I know, I would like to hear their
All right, go ahead,
answer.
Mr. Jeremiah, you first, and then Mr. Councilman McGee.
A performance audit really, takes a look at a variety of different things, including the objectives of, say, for example, a government grant.
Can you speak into the mic
Yeah,
so
a
everyone can hear you?
government grant,
You can tilt it down if you
the
want.
objectives of a government grant, the objectives of a particular program. So a performance audit encompasses more than what's included in here. So a performance audit is different than the consulting engagement we included here, and also is required. One of the things that you mentioned was, the performance audit. You didn't see it referenced in accordance with government auditing standards, right?
So this really is not a
This is
performance
not
audit?
this is not a true performance
No,
audit.
it's not.
All right.
And that's what I have
Because
been
based upon our
requesting.
understanding of the objectives, after meeting with both Mr. Waters, Mr. Tebow, and Mr. Gorham, was that the concern was really more to understand the activities that have occurred related to the sewer project, how how some of the things happened, what the construction costs were, how the construction costs were funded, how the assessments were determined, how the sewer user fees are determined, to understand the relationship between the town of Coventry and the town of West Warwick and the provisions of the IMA. So it's not as encompassing as a performance audit.
But I think this is what this town needs, is a performance audit, because it doesn't even mention about you even reviewing any of the sewer subcommittee meeting minutes in here at all.
Yeah,
I mean, it's...
And that was probably our oversight in terms of just,
Go ahead.
just mentioning the town council minutes and not the sewer subcommittee minutes. Certainly, we would have.
But,
reviewed the
within
sewer-
the scope, you follow the
Understood.
scope of work. So if
Understood.
it's not in there, you're not going to do it. So, I mean, that's why it needs to be very detailed, and that's why I'm just so concerned that it is such a short period of time, are you going to be able to get and are we going to word it as a performance audit?
Okay, Mr. Gorham.
I just want to add a little perspective here for Councilwoman Bacon.
Please do.
There is no,
Glenn, I mean,
Well, he's doing it. That's right.
but it's the way you said it. It's very condescending.
This is what we've got. This is what we've asked for. This is what we're going to vote on. Go ahead, Mr. Gorham.
well,
No, this is
I-
not
I
what we
was-
asked for. No,
I was at the meeting with,
Listen.
I am listening.
excuse me, I was at the
No, I'm not-
meeting
no,
with the
I'm speaking.
representatives from Citron Cooperman. And they are going to examine the assessments, and I told them outright, I thought, just my own impression, having lived in the town and followed the trials and tribulations of the town, its sewer system, and many other things for the last 20-plus years, that the prevailing wisdom is that the assessments were never enough. And the assessments originate where? In the sewer subcommittee. They are advisory only, but they do make recommendations on what the assessments are supposed to be, and they are going to examine the assessments. And if they do that, they're going to examine the sewer subcommittee. The mere fact that they didn't say it explicitly doesn't mean that the path isn't going to lead there for them.
But it doesn't matter. It still needs to be in the scope of work.
But I totally agree, but it has to be looked at. The assessments, the woefully
I'm not gonna assume
insufficient
anything.
assessments, I believe, are the reason why the system is in trouble. And that's why people are mad now, because their assessments are high, because they believe we're trying to play catch-up. I think this is precisely the type of examination that the people of Coventry want.
I think the people want a performance audit of the entire program.
We can label it any-
I mean, that's what we want. We want to understand how we got to where we are. This is the problem, Nick. And
I think we're
getting
exalting
close. We're on the same
terms over
page.
the substance of what they're
No,
going to do.
this is not a
think you can call
performance
it
audit.
anything you want, but I
No,
want.
we can't call it anything we want.
Well,
That's the, I mean, all right, Nick.
All right, we
Nick,
got a
I just-
council person and our town solicitor talking. Please, the audience, can you keep quiet?
I mean, right on the cover page,
Thank you.
it says proposal to provide professional service, sewer program consulting. I mean, you would think on the cover page, it would say, the sewer performance audit.
They've said it's not a performance audit.
I know
They've
they're
given
not,
the
but
reasons
that is
why they
what.
don't think that's
So
worth
don't
it.
go and say this is what I've asked for. This isn't. I've asked for a performance audit, unbiased, independent performance audit. And I don't know if we, as you say, let this go. Can you get a performance audit done by mid-April?
Mr. McGee. You had a
I
comment.
would assume no.
I read through this thing, and I think it's very good. It's a great start. I agree. I want to see everything looked at, absolutely everything looked at.
We all do.
Well, yes, we do. I mean, we absolutely don't want anything, everything uncovered. This program goes back years and years, and we want to make sure we get to the bottom of it. I think, I like what's in here. I do. You guys are going to go through the whole thing. I don't want you to feel rushed. I don't know how the deadline came in 3 months. I don't care if it takes 6 months. I want everything looked at also. I want to make sure, and she's got a point, it is your busy time. So, make sure that this whole program is looked at and everything is not omitted. I don't care what you want to call it, performance order or not, but I think by the information that you've presented to us, obviously, the sewer subcommittee has to be looked at, and like Nick explained it, and I'm sure it won't be overlooked. But I think it's a great start. I think it's going to give us the answers we want. I think for us to be debating it now is a little early. When I think we'd be more apt to debate it and more apt to have public comment when we get results from this to see if there's anything that we really don't agree with. But you guys are going to be presenting facts to us, and that's what we need. We need unbiased facts presented to us, and I think it's going to be good. I think we're a little premature arguing about it now. I just want to make sure that everything is looked at and nothing is overlooked. But I mean, a performance audit, I don't know, what the difference is, but let's start out with what you're doing. Let's get us some answers. We may have a lot of our questions answered by the time we receive your audit, or whatever you want to call it, but I appreciate it. I like the way it was written and presented to us, and like I said, I don't want you to feel pressured. I want this thing to be completed, and I don't know, Mr. Mr. Graham, Waters, if we have any issues with taking longer than 3 months, it's not a problem with me. I want a good job done, you know.
The goal with the April deadline was to try to get it completed before the budget season really kicks into high gear, so we can, if we need to take
It takes more time.
into consideration financial issues that need to be considered with the upcoming budget.
But here again, we still want a thorough job done, and if it can't be, then we'll address that when it comes. I mean, we want to make sure we get to the history and the issues and the problems with the sewer program. Thank you.
Could I ask one more question? Could you explain what this is in the difference between a performance audit? What is proposed here in a performance audit? What are the differences?
Sure.
A performance audit is actually performed in accordance with a set of professional standards. So you get a report, and the report outlines what's done and the findings. It's done in accordance with a set of professional standards that govern exactly what the reporting format is and exactly what you're going to look at.
Okay.
This is a consulting engagement because this is focused on the things that we heard were of concern to the town council in our meeting with Mr. Waters, Mr. T-Bolt, and Mr. Gorham. Okay? It's not done in accordance with a set of professional standards, which requires...
The Yellow Book standard?
The Yellow Book standards. When we were thinking about the type of engagement and having a discussion about the type of engagement, it wasn't, the concern was really to understand what the program was, what happened in the sewer program, to really understand what the assessments look like, to understand what the billing looked like, to understand what the IMA, the provisions of the IMA are, and to provide information for the council to understand where it is today and some of the decisions that were made in the perspective over the years of the sewer program. A performance audit looks at objectives. It looks at things that are very specific and performs tests to determine whether, in fact, policies are being followed, requirements are being met.
Yes.
So that isn't necessarily going to provide you the same information that this consulting engagement is going to provide. It's not. It's really going to look at the program and it's going to say, what is the objective of the sewer program? The objective of the sewer program might be X, Y, and Z. We'll test against those objectives, but we won't necessarily go through a financial analysis to understand what the costs were for the sewer, how the sewer assessment was based, whether the sewer assessments were sufficient to cover the costs that were incurred, to look at the underlying agreements to understand the costs that are being incurred by the town under the IMA. A performance audit will not do that.
So I guess what you're saying is a consulting service, what you're giving here, and then we need to discuss adding a performance audit to this also.
I think, one thing I just want to clarify too is that, the consulting engagements are still done under a set of professional standards. We are required as CPAs and under our own professional set of standards in our professional conduct that everything is done in accordance with the basic framework, which is how we have to operate as CPAs. The difference really between the performance audit is going to give you a piece of paper that might not answer your concerns. If you have questions along the way of specific details related to, did the assessment cover the costs related to the bond that went out in 2003? That is not part of the objective of a performance audit. Okay. So when we looked at this, we actually never really talked about we didn't really talk about the performance audit as a component. We talked about what would the engagement look like that would give you the best information so that you can make a decision. And again, when you layer on the performance audit, you're paying for a lot of things that I don't necessarily think that would help you make that decision because we're checking boxes and putting it in a box itself. With the consulting engagement, it can be more fluid. So if there's something, and we've included in the proposal, meetings with town council, so that if there is something that we've found during the course of our procedures, that we can bring up to you to say, is this where you want it to go? This is what we're finding. These are the regular updates. That's not exactly what you get with the performance audit. The performance audit is much more limited in its scope, and we are only testing to certain program specifics as opposed to allowing you to kind of craft exactly what it is that you want. And again, they're both done in accordance with professional standards. We're issuing a report on that that we're standing behind to say this is the information that we were looking at. This is exactly what we found. These are the assumptions that went into it. These are the facts that went into it, and this is what you have to make your decision with, versus the performance audit that's going to say the program was in accordance with its objective or not.
Okay. Councilman LaBosse, thank you for that information.
Thank you very much. I see a lot of towns and, other units of areas that you've done this type of work for. Is there, in the comparable work done in other towns like what is being done here, and how did they receive your results when you did that? Are there any specific towns in a comparably, whether it was a sewer, whether it was something, some other type of not performance audit, but audit of measure?
Sure. The cities and towns that are listed, as well as the state component units, are the towns that we've provided services for. So the services could be consulting services. It could be helping them with accounting. It could be helping them with policies and procedures, internal control. It could also be performing audits or reviews of their financial statements. So it's a variety of different services that we've provided to those municipalities and component units. Each engagement is very specific to a town. So, for example, if a town has asked us to provide consulting services, it's usually focused on something that they have a concern about. Certainly, as part of our audits of financial statements for those municipalities that have sewer funds, we've certainly understood and audited the assessment process, the billing process. We've looked at any intermunicipal agreements that the towns might have. Your engagement doesn't necessarily align with some of the other consulting engagements that the towns have because of the uniqueness of the request for help and assistance that we've provided to those communities.
Well, I like what I hear, that we're going to have information to make the decision as to how we move forward or whatever like that. Let's say we get to the end of this and there are other areas of information that may be required again. Are we able to adjust the scope a little bit and go at the end of this period in order to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mitzi said it very well, that a consulting engagement is really a fluid engagement, so we can change the scope of the services. We can not do something that maybe was included in the proposal that we thought was important to do or that the council thought was important to do along the way. Certainly we can add things, we can modify the way we do the procedures. It's really an agreement between the town council and the firm in terms of what you'd like us to do as part of that engagement.
And I think part of the problem with this, with the whole thing, is that we really haven't had anything that was streamlined. A streamlined vision as to how, other than a facilities plan, but as far as accomplishing those plans, will this information help us streamline, moving, forward on some of these, again, with the information that'll be provided? In other words, with suggestions and consultations, look, we think that, moving in this direction will help you, hey, here's what you need to do to cover the costs of this, or or you'll never be able to cover the cost of this, for instance, again, with the possible adjustments in the agreement with the town of West Warwick, et cetera. Those will be part of the suggestions or in the package there.
Right. I mean, I think that the biggest component to most of the decision-making that you're looking to do with this would be financial. Right. And so to give you that information that specifically states what the repayment periods would look like under the current assessment rate that you have, under the current rate structure that you have, to really look at the sustainability of the actual program itself. That's the information that we're going to provide you with the objective information that comes in from when you were issuing bonds, how you were collecting that information. We had a good conversation about how you actually do collect the information and where that information is stored, whether it's in the general fund, whether it's in its own enterprise fund. Digging through that information to try to sort it and make sure that it is going to the right spots. That's so that you can have that information so that you can make those decisions.
Thank you.
And I've looked through the list. You get the city of Fall River listed, Mr. Jeremiah, and Newport, I mean, we do have cities and towns, and all the quasi-state agencies, airport, corporation, convention center, there's some big agencies there, and all of these would attest to your competence. I assume that's why they're down here. Is that correct? And between Mr. Waters and Mr. Tebow and our town solicitor, you've met, and this is what you're presenting to us. So I'm satisfied with what you're proposing and what we need to find out, so we can go from there and adjust it. I know that the council is welcome to send any more questions to the town manager. Mr. Waters, let me ask you now, what is the suggestion so we can move forward here with this proposal? What are you recommending?
Well, if there's things that the council would like to add or
Right.
change the
Okay.
deadline,
Yep.
or this really is something, the town manager bringing the information forward
Right.
to the town council.
Okay.
If you don't feel comfortable making a decision tonight and you'd like to add to the proposal, we can have Citron Cooperman go back and add whatever you'd like to add. If you feel that this is pretty good as far as encompassing, finding out what the problems are and helping us find solutions, you can pass it tonight. Again, as they said, it's fluid. There's a provision in the resolution that says once they hit $37,000, then if they have additional work that they would like to do or the council would like to have them do, we can bring back we can bring it back before the town council to vote on additional funding for this.
Yeah,
I
go
have
ahead,
a
Mr.
couple questions.
Okay, it doesn't matter. who's
I just got one follow-up question. You mentioned, obviously, we're able to move a little bit on it. Now, as this is going along, what type of progress reports or possible things would we get in the interim that might raise other questions that we may need you to look at?
Well, I think, we would be working closely with the town manager to really make sure that if there's new information that comes to light, that we realize along the way that's going to either result in a change in the general direction, that's when you certainly would be made aware of those potential issues. I think, we got the overview as to what it is that you're looking for, but certainly there could be something that pops up in the minutes. There could be something that leads us to another direction. We're trying to contain the scope of it so that we can make it manageable. But if something actually comes up that would warrant information to you, we'll certainly be working with the town manager to get that information to you so that you can decide where you want this to go.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Carlson.
Yes, thank you. I don't think you should take any of our discussions tonight personally. This is a very touchy issue, and it's no reflection on your firm. I do have some questions, though, for the town manager. It says on our agenda that this is a resolution to waive the bidding requirements for sewer audit. Why do we want to waive the bidding requirements?
So this firm participated in the state MPA master price agreement. So they went out and they were chosen by the state's procurement process. So they've already gone through the bidding and vetting through the state's procurement branch. This allows the town to have efficiencies through purchasing because they provided more competitive pricing than we could probably get just for this sole project alone.
So were there other firms that are in this process that you looked at too?
Yes, so there.
Did they get an email with the parameters of what we're looking for?
They did not. The way I chose Citron Cooperman was there's 5 firms that are on the state MPA. Citron Cooperman was the lowest price of them. That's how I chose them as to bring in for an interview. So I saw that they were the lowest price. I brought together Nick and Bob, and we sat down and discussed what the problems were and interviewed them and asked them to submit a proposal.
But if you didn't interview, don't take offense, please. If you didn't interview any other firms, then how do you know, no offense, this is the one to pick, no offense, the cost? I mean, I'm looking, personally, I'm looking for financials.
Right.
I want to know, obviously, we kind of can surmise where we went wrong, but where has the money gone? Where did the money from any grants, any federal money, state money, taxes, assessments? I don't know if this is where we're going to find out the answers to those questions. How, so I'm not, no offense, I'm not comfortable. It's like when the DPW director comes in and says only one company bid on a project. That, to me, isn't the way we should be doing this. And I don't know why we wouldn't have interviewed other firms, and how much price difference was there between you guys, and then the next on the list? Or how do we know what they would have come in at if we didn't give anybody parameters, other firms' parameters? Wait, Glenn, I'm not done. Thank you.
I didn't say you were.
I know, but you clicked.
I'm ready.
You're ready. And yes, that's why we have a town manager, but I think the town manager needs to, look at other firms. This is a huge issue. It's probably the biggest thing that's come in front of this town and a council in a long time. And I want and I know I agree with Mrs. Bacon, and I agree with Councilman McGee, that we need to know where the money went and where we're going to go forward. And also, I know the legislators, when we were at the meeting, they were speaking about, and maybe Senator Raptakis could speak to this, they were going to contact the Auditor General to do an audit. Now, where's the $37,000 coming from? What fund is that coming out of? Is that out of the general fund?
It would probably come from the contingency fund. Because, again, this is not budgeted for this year.
No,
This
it's
was
not.
not anticipated.
And
So
it's a
that's
lot
what
of money.
That's where the the money would most likely come from.
Right. So there's nothing on here that says where the money's coming from. And on the resolution, I like to know where the funding is coming from. But maybe Senator Raptakis could speak to whether or not the Auditor General is a possibility, and I don't think that would cost $37,000, would it? No. So perhaps we should actually still look into that avenue and not spend money we don't really have to add on to this. So I think there's other questions that we haven't got answered, and I'm certainly not prepared to pick a firm this evening.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Waters, you had 5 to choose from. You chose the lowest, price. Did you want to mention how close the other ones were? I know that this has been asked for to find out what's happening for months, and I think your goal was to get it done. Reputable company with reputable resumes and reputable towns and cities and state agencies you work for. And I'm just wondering, we could keep postponing it, keep kicking the can down the street, interview more, come out here, and then have 1 or 2 or 3. You're the hired town manager. Is there any reason, outside of maybe additional questions, that we shouldn't go ahead and start getting this done? Because if it takes 3 or 4 months or more, if you find that's the case, we can go to 2019 with this. I think 37,000. If it's the lowest price, that's the way to go. We want to focus on a town matter. We don't need the state to come in and tell the towns what they're doing right or doing wrong. I think all those other cities and towns, might have thought that too. Every city and town has their specific concerns. There's specific projects, there's sewer programs, and I think that's where the town solicitor, our town manager, and our town finance director has gotten to this point. Now, again, I'm prepared to go ahead and get this thing going. I don't see any reason why not to, personally, as one council person that's heard this long enough. And I don't know if we're ready for a vote, Mr. Waters, or not.
I just have one more thing.
Let me ask Mr. Waters, and maybe he can answer my question. Mr. Waters, are we ready or not?
That's not up to me. It's up to the town
I understand
council.
that, but are you comfortable with putting this to the council?
I am comfortable with Citron Cooperman and their qualifications. I am comfortable with the price that they gave us.
Okay, and Mr. Tebow is also?
The price that they gave us is based on an hourly rate.
Right.
not on a lump sum. So
How much
Okay.
time,
If-
how much they cost, right?
correct.
Okay?
So, in addition to that, Nick just brought to my attention that really what they're performing is a professional service, and as we know, professional services aren't covered under Chapter 56. However, I felt it prudent to come before the council and put it out there in this manner so the council has input and is aware of everything that's going on. If the council does not feel like this is the appropriate way to go, then please provide me with guidance on how you as a council, as a body, would like to go. If there's 3 votes for this, then there's 3 votes for it. If there's 3 votes against it, there's 3 votes against it. However the majority of the council feels is necessary to pursue this. I am comfortable with this firm looking into the sewer program as they laid out in their proposal. I brought this proposal before council. I mentioned it in my September 29th report to the town council, as well as at the last town council meeting. I believe I said I was going to go look for firms to bring back before the town council. In between that time, I also asked for feedback from the town council regarding this. And tonight, I'm asking for input into this proposal. So if there are specific things, and I did mention specifically in my request to Citron Cooperman that they look for criminal matters to present a forensic aspect to the review that they're doing. But by no means, we're not committed to accepting the proposal. That's why it's being voted on.
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes, okay, Mrs. Carlson, I think first, then Mr. McGee, then I have one. Go ahead.
In the list of cities and towns that you've worked with, have you worked with any sewer issues, any sewer programs? Because it's a nice list, but I don't know what you've done for these cities and towns.
Yeah, most of the work that we've done for the cities and towns that relate to sewers is really auditing the enterprise fund. So really understanding the enterprise fund, understanding the assessment process, understanding the building process, understanding and auditing the construction costs and the funding that they receive, whether it be grant funding or whether it be the assessments of debt funding.
Now, and I just want to ask, can the senator address the Auditor General idea, or is that something that would take way longer and we wouldn't get answers quite as quickly? Senator, do you know anything about that? Yeah, I'm asking, can he answer that?
Yes, if you want to answer that question in general.
Thank you. To your question, the General Assembly, I'll give you a quick response. All 8 members of the delegation have drafted a letter, and all 8 members will sign that letter and ask the Auditor General to conduct a forensic audit. And that's up to the Auditor General from looking at our letter, our request, and to move forward. And again, that's going to be the state coming in and auditing a specific issue that concerns this town. And the Auditor General has conducted many audits throughout this state, throughout state agencies. So it's not something new for him, but he has to make that decision from looking at the evidence that all 8 members of the delegation are going to present to him. And we'll share a copy by the end of this week. You will have a copy of that letter when it is sent to the Auditor General. And that's a process that we feel as members of the delegation, all 8 of us, are going to move forward with.
So you are going to do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
we've already got 5 out of 8 signed on to the letter.
Okay.
And we're going to expect the other 3 members when we reconvene at the State House tomorrow to conduct that, finish up that letter.
And I have to say, much as I don't like the state stepping on any
Well,
of the
state's not
municipalities'
stepping, I mean,
toes, I think if they can do the job and they can do it, and it's not going to cost the town anything in a timely manner, and I don't know what their timing would be, I think it's something that we need to consider before we make any decisions on hiring a firm. And we would tell them what we're looking at, what the problems have been. I don't see why we wouldn't wait until we had that information.
Yeah, right. That's a process that we're taking upon ourselves.
Right,
And
I understand.
We represent this community. We are
Right.
elected members of this community, so we feel that all 8 members, after we had the town council meeting here on December 18th, we feel, in hearing from our constituents regarding this whole entire sewer program, we've seen enough evidence that we're bringing our letter forward, and the Auditor General has to make that decision by reading that letter, and again, he'll make the decision to move forward.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Senator. I know Councilman LaBossiere has another
Senator,
question before you leave.
Do you happen to know if another town or city that the Auditor General has actually audited the?
I haven't asked them, I can find out.
Okay, I don't, I just didn't, I've never heard of the Auditor General auditing another town or city in the state.
And, yeah, okay, thank you, thank you, Senator. Mr. McGee?
Yeah, I also, if they want to do it, the state wants to step in and do a forensic audit, fine, but we still have a responsibility. They're not going to answer all the questions that this firm is going to answer and do all the research and everything. If the state wants to come in, I don't want the state, to get involved in they want to come in, fine, and it's not going to cost us anything, but we have a lot of other issues just in a forensic audit that have to be taken care of. And I'm completely comfortable with this firm coming in, looking up all the issues and the problems and presenting us with a report on it. And if the town manager suggests that we approve it, I'm all for it. The councilwoman have been asking for this for a long time. It's a great start to get going. Let's get moving on this. Let's find out our problems and let's work towards getting them solved. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gorham, one more question. Did you say on this resolution it's okay to vote on or not? I kind of was getting messages on the chapter or not chapter. Or
The state law authorizes municipalities to do this through the MPA. The state law is Title 37, Chapter 2, Section 56, which allows municipalities to avail themselves of the benefits of the MPA, the Master Price Agreement, administered by the State Department of Administration. And our charter also says essentially the same thing in Chapter 56, that we can avail ourselves of joint pricing agreements.
Okay.
Mr. Solicitor.
So, really, the town manager was correct. For professional services, it's not really necessary to do this. It says, except in the case of professional services, and I would respectfully submit to all of you that this is a professional firm, except in the case we need to go out to bid. So we don't have to go out to bid for professional services, and there are a variety of reasons for that we could debate. But the fact is that our ordinance says we don't have to do that. But the town manager did it anyway.
Okay.
He did it anyway, and he examined the bids under the MPA and under the ordinance, and he felt that this was the best deal for the town.
And the state MPA is saving us all that time and effort. It's the lowest possible bid through the state, so that's saving us a lot of time and effort, so.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion.
All right,
Well,
motion
hang
to
on.
approve and
Wait, excuse me,
second.
Glenn, you offered to have public comment.
All right.
And so before
I
we go
think-
and do anything, I'd like to hear from the public. I mean,
I
please do
I
that?
did say I'd consider it, but with all questions asked and the answers coming back, I'm satisfied to not hear from individuals in the public
I think-
for the votes. All right, so
Well,
I've got a motion
well,
to
wait a
approve.
minute, Glenn.
Yes, go ahead.
I have been asking for months for this, and no one would listen to me. Now, all of a sudden, it comes on the agenda, it's before us, and now you're ramming it down our throats. I mean, I would like, it states right here in their proposal, their references from our governmental clients upon request. We have no references. I would like to see those. I would also like to see, it says our firm's peer review quality control report is available upon request. I would like to review those documents. And I would like to be able to sit down, and as you know, we all discussed, we need to get this right. What is the rush in voting on something tonight? I mean, I think it's the first time we've seen it. They're here. I mean, we need to get this right. Like I said, it's been months. I couldn't get it on the agenda, then it just magically appeared. I have no idea what happened in 3 weeks where finally it came on the agenda, but let's not rush it. Let's get this right.
All right.
We have the opportunity to add anything on we want, to speak to these people, or speak to the town manager,
Right.
communicate.
No, but if we go and we try and go and add, now we got to all gather again and try and go and write this. Let's go and get this right and there are things in here that the town manager is only going to allow these folks to speak to certain people at a certain time. That shouldn't be the case. They should be able to go and speak to members if we need to in here, and I can't find it right at the moment, I'm sorry. But I mean, we really, designated by the town manager during scheduled periodic meetings. I mean, we need to make sure that.
Well, that's only reasonable. You set up a meeting to meet with a town, with a town
But the
administrator.
town, I get that, but they should be able to come in and speak to whoever they want in the
Absolutely, and I don't think a town manager's gonna withhold them, anybody the opportunity to speak to them. Just gonna do it at the convenience of a town manager who is in charge of department heads. I mean, I think
But
you're
the
making a
way-
big thing of this. I
I'm
think,
not
I
making
really
a
do.
big-
I think
Okay.
this is a great start, and
I believe
But
it is.
bottom line, it
Okay.
is the council's
I think-
responsibility to
All right.
get this right,
That's right.
We've
not
heard-
the town manager.
That's right.
We've heard from the council, all right?
And I
I got a
think we should hear
motion,
from-
I got a motion to vote. Do I have a second?
No, why, I mean,
What are we afraid
Did you-
of? Let him speak.
why can't we have,
I've asked for a motion to second, or do you have another comment?
No, did you ask, we got, Mr. McGee,
Yeah.
did you make a motion?
yes, I did.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
no,
Okay,
Thank you.
3 ayes,
Move on to
2
the next
opposed.
thing.
Next matter. All right. The next matter is C. Mr. Waters, C. Thank you, Mr. Jeremiah, and the guest. I didn't get your last name again?
Hollenbeck.
Hollenbeck.
Hollenbeck. Thank you for coming out, and we appreciate it.
I have a question for Nick Gorham before we move forward. Since you three oppose this, the resolution says audit, 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 audit. That's not what they're doing. They're doing consulting service, so you need to go and rewrite this resolution.
Mr. Gorham, have you seen the resolution?
So you voted for an audit. So is that what we're getting now?
All right.
Yes,
not a forensic
consulting
audit.
engagement.
I have to look at.
So.
How do we
what
have it?
So are we getting an audit
All
or a
right, question-
consulting engagement?
Question noted. What do we have in front of us?
Thank you. Okay.
Resolution.
That's why I asked if we're ready to go.
Well, that's why you were rushing it.
to read and listen.
You had your opportunity to do it right. Instead, you're just rushing it and jamming it down our throats.
Where's that?
In there. It's hired them to examine the sewer facility.
I think
It
that's
says in
the
the third,
second one.
whereas the vendor has given the town a proposal with pricing based on the Rhode Island master, whereas it is determined that Citron Cooperman and Company LLP can perform the required
All right.
tasks of the audit.
Any other, Mr. Gorham, any further questions from what we voted on, or Mr. Waters, or?
Well, you guys
we have
voted
that
on an
in front
audit,
of us.
so fantastic. We're getting an audit. Yay!
This is to have an audit.
Take your mom mentality and
Right.
let's move on to the next item.
No, you need to get this straight. They're doing consult, we
all right,
need to
let-
make sure what they're doing.
Let our town solicitor answer, please. This is chaos. All right?
There was a question asked of me, Mr.
Yes,
President,
thank you.
by Councilwoman Bacon.
Yes.
It does say audit in the
Yep.
resolution. If the audit needs to be changed, I will change it. But
Yep.
the
Oh, no, you guys voted on audit. They approved audit.
Excuse me. Councilwoman Bacon asked me if it must be changed. Okay, you're right. It's already been voted on. That's correct, and they voted on it as such.
Yep.
You asked me, does it have to be changed? I don't think it does, but if it does, I will let you know. Okay.
Okay.
And that's how we'll leave it.
But they voted on an audit, so I hope they understand
Not a
that.
forensic audit.
But that's
Audit
a
of
Doesn't
the
say-
whole
That's a
operation.
matter- that's
Doesn't
a
have to
matter-
be a
You did
financial
an
audit.
audit.
right.
That's what you don't understand.
All
You
right,
said
we're
it
moving
on
on.
consulting service, not an audit. That's what you're
please provide
getting.
All right,
definition
so
of
be
the
it.
word audit.
He'll notify you if it has to be changed. All right, C, Mr. Waters, C1. C1. Mr. Waters.
Yes, so, we have before the town council the renewal of the iCompass Technologies annual contract. This is our vendor that we use for our meeting management system as well as broadcasting our, council meetings.
Okay.
And we have with us tonight our IT director who is here to answer questions.
Mr. Warzika,
And present this.
good evening, sir. Happy New Year.
Good evening, sir. I hope to say you well.
Listen, you're a bigger target. We can stop.
I know, thank you.
Stay right there. They understand target acquisition. Hey, that's all right. That's our police joke. Go ahead.
This is the renewal of the iCompass entire package. It's the annual renewal. It's actually due in another 3 months, but I wanted, as soon as it came in, I wanted to get it up in front of the council, get it approved. And it's just to continue with the process on what we're doing now, the video, the live streaming, the storage, the meeting management software, all of the aspects of the whole package that we've moved over to. There are a couple of minor additions that are with this that we haven't kicked on yet because it's a process getting the training and getting everybody up to speed on it. And unfortunately, during this process, we're losing our town clerk, the person who does it. So instead of training her on these last two items on here, the action tracking on the contract tracker as well as the APRA tracker, those two will be done once we have a new town clerk, instead of wasting time on training and then retraining, and it's a lot involved on the training on this stuff. So I didn't want to waste my time, their time, or for that matter, Mrs. George's time. But it's annual price. We don't have an option. The only other thing we could do with this is go out to bid again and kill everything we've done and start clean, and I really don't want to do that. So this is more or less a mandatory, but because of the price on it, I didn't want to just do it. I felt it should come up in front of the council and get authorization for the $18,000 and change.
Can I know that I've had several taxpayers say how great it is to be able to watch the meetings. The only problem is the sound, the audio is a problem. But they've been really happy having it.
The audio you should have noticed the difference in the audio. Tonight's sounds much better as well. Last meeting we had a different setup, and I had a soundboard, and all of these things we're tweaking while we're getting used to getting it set up, getting it configured the right way. That's why I'm still here at every meeting instead of the town manager kicking this thing on and off at the end. Once it's perfect, I'll be happy with it. We're going to be moving it next week over to the corner. All the equipment that we need is going to be on the side. We're going to shorten up the wires, eliminate some of the duplication that we've got, and I've got a couple of people that have emailed me today, and I asked them to respond back tomorrow on how they found the audio today.
Oh, good.
So we'll see if there's any issues with it. What I've checked already on the testing this afternoon, it does seem better than what I was getting, so we'll see what happens.
And the other question I had was, how are we doing on the videoing and streaming for the other meetings? School committee, zoning, planning, sewer subcommittee, all the other components. Obviously, I don't expect land trust and conservation because they meet across the street, and they're not going to be here, but...
The original contract was for zoning, planning, town council, school committee, and then a fifth one. That's what we were based on. We can add others into it. The issue is there's an extensive amount of training. There's the equipment. I'll be honest, I've got some concerns with some people with too many hands, too many cooks. And, something as simple as, we've got laptops. There's a couple of $1,000 that's involved. We've got a black box that does the encoding. There's another $1,500. I've got all this equipment around that has to be played with. I have problems with my mics on certain committees and moving things and twisting, and I'm afraid if I move it down into some of the smaller committees, I'm going to have problems with equipment, and I'm going to be constantly replacing equipment. With that said, if the council wants it, it will be down on all of them. I will get it all down there, and we'll just have to replace the stuff as it gets broken. But I do find I do have issues some days with equipment and the equipment being left out. You see what this looks like when you come back in after certain meetings.
Right. Well, I think it's the zoning, the planning, and the
Zoning
school
and planning,
committee and town council are the four
Yep.
that really need to be
We will be there. We're going to
Done.
be there on Wednesday for
high
Wednesday's
school.
meeting at the high school.
Good.
I'm hoping I can get that to go out live.
Okay.
I'm really going to be working on that. One of the problems is we've got to basically set up for an FTM on Wednesday because we need sound system, we need projection system, I need everything that we have on an FTM, and I've only got a couple of hours to get it set up. They're only allowing me in there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, and I've got to get everything cleared out of there when this is over, which I suspect is going to be somewhere around midnight. So I've got all that to get done. We're going to, like I said, Cody and I are going to attempt to get this out live. Hopefully we will. We do have internet in there, and I should be able to, as long as I've got internet in there, I should be able to get this to do a live stream out of there, so anybody that can attend will be able to watch it. And worst case, it will be videoed, and it would be available the next day if I can't get it live that night.
Good, thank you.
So we will be working on that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Outside of my question, Mr. Waters, it says discussion and/or action. Is any action needed at the council regarding this matter, or is it something where just green light it? I mean,
It's part of the consent agenda, so
okay, are we taking individual? Why don't we take it individually then? Consent, do we have a motion, I guess, to approve this cost for iPass?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Congrats. All right, C2 is next, Mr. Waters.
C2 is a draft letter to Representative Nunes in response to the letter that he sent the town council. It's attached as page, give me a second here.
58?
Yes.
Okay.
To your agendas. It's what was requested by the town council to be brought forward from the legislative meeting.
Right.
And this
And
is
respond
just
back.
a draft. You can edit how you see fit.
Okay, my question, I see the word, I circled it, wait until the audit. Now, Mr. Gorham, should that be changed, or does it have to be, or does it not really have to be on the letter?
Which paragraph?
Well, it's the second paragraph about the seventh line down.
In the third line, it also
5,
says
6,
perform
7.
a full audit.
Okay, yeah. And
See that right there?
all right, third line. All right, second paragraph again. All right, you see it. Now, do we adjust the letter?
The definition of audit is an official inspection of an individual's or organization's accounts,
Okay.
typically by an independent body. There is no doubt in my mind that that is what
It fits the bill.
Citrin Cooperman is doing.
Thank
There
you.
you go, bingo.
I don't know how you could call it anything else.
Okay. All right.
All right,
Thank
so, and
Well
so I
stated,
think the
Counselor.
resolution is proper. I've had time to look up and examine the word audit, and I think it's proper in this letter as well.
Okay.
Can
All
I-
right. Yes, I haven't asked for a motion yet, but discussion?
Okay, and also, twice in here it's called the sewer system. I would think it should be the sewer program. And also, who wrote the letter and who had input into this specifically? Did Graham do it?
I
Or-
wrote the letter. I wrote the letter, and,
You have to have paragraphs.
well, this
I had my red pencil
is
out.
becoming
Oh, a draft. Doesn't say
nomenclature
draft.
night at the town council. So I put system, if you want to, what did I say, system or?
Yeah.
Okay, I've always thought of it as a system, but if you want to call it something else,
Program.
it's your vote, not, right, so. You can call it a lot of things, but I thought system was suitable, but I'm just making suggestions.
Want to add program? Regarding the sewer system program? Sewer program. Sewer program?
Sewer program, yeah.
Okay, all right.
System.
Motion to change the word system in third paragraph, second last line, to program versus system. Do I have a motion to
Yeah.
change it to program?
So moved.
Do I have a
Wait.
second to change it from system to program?
We need to vote on that?
Well, can
He
change
wasn't
it.
serious,
As
you know.
amended.
I don't think Graham was serious about, it takes 3 votes to change the word. It's a draft.
Right, so I go ahead and, finalize it and we can sign it. Is that next
Wait,
meeting?
can I ask why we're even doing this?
Because they asked for a response. We heard it on December 18th.
Right.
That had not responded. This will be
Where's the original
response.
letter? Oh, we don't have it, do we? We have no original letter.
We'll send it to all 8 of our representatives, 2 senators, 6 reps.
Why are we all signing it?
Because they all signed theirs, minus Representative Nardolillo, when we got it. And that was back a while
So
ago.
is,
It's a light.
can somebody tell me what this actually says in English? Because this is, I'm sorry, Nick, but it's kind of, I look at it and I read it and I thought it was a bit contradictory to,
Well, I can summarize what the intent of the letter was. The intent of the letter is to inform the General Assembly delegation for Coventry that we are undertaking a very substantive examination, audit, if you will, of our sewer program, if you will. And it stands to reason that we all wait until we get the result of that, the report, before we put in legislation or to do anything. I don't think anyone on this council would disagree with that. So that's all it is.
I do.
It's just a,
All right, well, that's,
no, legislation takes. Why would we tell them not to do anything?
okay, that's
Well,
why we
you know,
have
it's-
5 names down, and I personally wanted to respond back to them.
Yes,
Because they.
that's polite.
It is polite, and again, although verbally we told them no, they asked for a letter. And this will be the letter, and whoever wants to sign it, signs it. All right, now, Mr. Gorham, is it ready to be drafted and signed, or do we get this later in the mail, Mr. Waters, or what, how does that gonna happen?
I would-
Once we take a vote, if we change it, again?
Well, the only other thing was, it
All
says,
right.
well, in here, it says expects to appoint a reputable, it seems that we have appointed Citron Cooperman. Then that
All
should
right,
be
where-
changed.
where's
The
that?
town- in this point, the town has appointed Citron Cooperman to perform.
What line?
It's the third line of the second.
All right,
line.
all right, town expects to appoint, all right, so that'll be changed. All right, and I asked that it get drafted, Mr. Gorham and Mr. Waters, and then it'll appear before the council to either sign it or not sign it. But I want it sent, okay?
So we'll change, make
With
those
changes, with the program, and that not expects to appoint, has been appointed.
Okay.
And whether, let's leave the audit, because you gave us the excellent Webster's definition. All right? And then, as soon as we can get it, whether it's next council meeting,
Okay.
the 22nd.
Okay.
And council people will be welcome to sign it and/or not sign it. Okay? All right. C3. Mr. Waters.
In your packets, you have a report of the emergency purchase of a Dodge Sprinter engine that I authorized through Section 56-18, emergency purchases of the town. 56-18, once an emergency purchase is complete, requires that the town manager issue a report to the council. This report is included in your packets.
Okay? We have it in front of us. I guess
There's-
I wrote down C3 in the top corner. It's page 59 and page 60. I guess that was just a inadvertent left off on C3, but page 59 and page 60 in our package. We all have it in front of us. Any questions or comments outside of it's just a report?
Yeah, it's just
But,
Correct.
It's a
I have a
report.
couple
Does anybody have a question?
I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, that's why I asked the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Glenn. Okay, I wanted to know why this constituted an emergency. I don't, this is that big white van that's parked out there sometimes, or I see
Yep,
driving in and
it
out?
is, yep.
And it's used for maintenance,
For
tools?
building maintenance, et cetera.
And all that stuff,
Yes.
right? So, why was this an emergency?
So this was an emergency because the van had been out of order for quite some time, couple months. It was needed by the department. They were using an alternative piece of equipment to move their tools and other things around that was not lockable. And The van was towed to the Rhode Island Truck Center because it was the closer. It's the only known place that works on the diesel engine in the state of Rhode Island.
Now, this has a Mercedes engine,
Correct.
so you didn't call Inskip and see if Inskip, who sells Mercedes, would work on this truck?
We did.
They sell
and
vans.
They do not perform the required repair that was needed.
How,
Bald Hill Dodge, did you contact them?
I
I did,
okay.
and yes, they do work
they
on it,
do-
and they work, and also in Skip.
Okay.
And I did contact Ryder where it was
That's-
purchased. If it had been leased, we could have brought it back there, but we are not, there are other mechanics
okay. Well,
that
I'm
can
sure
work
there
on it.
are, but I was instructed by my public works director that the reason we took it to Rhode Island Truck Center was for this specific type of engine that this van. It's not a regular unleaded gasoline engine.
No, it's a
not
I
diesel.
know
regular-
exactly, yeah, they
it's a
actually are selling
specific
them at
type of-
Inskip right now, so they have them
Okay,
there.
well-
They know how to work on them.
When I went on the manufacturer's website, I was able to pull up the fact that Rhode Island Truck Center, as well as the Connecticut one, and I believe there might be one up in northern Massachusetts, I don't recall exactly, worked on these.
Okay, any other questions?
yeah, so.
I have several.
So, I know I asked some questions, but I didn't get, I didn't have answers back today about this particular van, but
They're emailed
we
to you at
purchased it in
3:30.
2014. It had 105,000 miles on it. How long, and I know I've got Greg's questions. Was it an issue that we just haven't maintained the vehicle, that it had this major issue now? I mean, that's a lot of money.
So, and the responses I sent to you at 3:30 to your
Oh.
questions.
3:30 is a little late. Sorry, I didn't see it.
Day of the meeting is a
Sorry.
little late, too.
Sorry?
Day of the meeting is a little late, too.
I know.
I emailed you back.
Well,
said,
I got my packet on Saturday,
So,
and
All
let's, and then Monday is a work day, because
Right.
if I asked you for questions over the weekend, there's nobody to answer them,
The-
which is why I've always said we should get our packets on Thursday.
So this memo was issued to the town council, I believe, back, well, that's besides the point. In response to your email, Councilwoman Carlson, I said that I would try to answer as many as I could by tonight's meeting. And I sent you an email at 3:30 with as many answers as I could provide.
that's good.
The Public Works Department did service the vehicle. They do oil changes, brakes, and tires, regular preventive and routine maintenance, nothing specialized. The vehicle was out of service for several months. In addition to the answers that were provided in the email, I had Mr. McGee attach several documents to go along with it.
Okay.
The reason that there's only 2 truck repair shops within a 2-hour radius of the town, there are only 2 dealerships who service Sprinter or Freightliner chassis, and those are Rhode Island Truck Center and Southern Connecticut Freightliner.
So we've only put 24,000 miles on this vehicle, right? Because we had 104,009.
I believe it's 128,000 miles.
Right. Now, it's the mileage. Or, the mileage currently is 128. We bought it, it had 104,950.
I wasn't here when the
No,
van
you
was
were
bought.
here. We were here.
Okay.
I'm just surprised that this vehicle doesn't get much use, and it could have something happen that costs this much money. And I don't understand, if it's been out of service for a few months, why this constituted the emergency title.
Because it had been sitting out and it needed to become back into service.
I have a question.
But why did it take that long to get it serviced? We just don't
Because-
seem to have a lot
because-
of money to spend, and we're just,
Could I ask a few questions? I think,
I can answer the question of why it took so long to get service, because we were looking for other dealerships that provide service to this engine. I specifically asked Kevin to go and look at Southern Connecticut Freightliner and get a quote from them for the pricing.
Okay, so that takes time.
So-
Mrs. Bacon?
I guess the question is, I'm assuming we bought it, obviously we bought it used in 2007. It has 128,000 miles. And you're saying that on the engine, the diesel, the Mercedes diesel engine, that we did the preventative maintenance. So we will be able to show that because I pulled up the owner's manual for this van. There's very specific oil that you have to use, so I want to make sure we're using the correct oil, since we did not bring it to an authorized dealership to do the preventative maintenance. So I would like to see the maintenance records of this. And what is the reason that we had I believe the heads were warped? What caused that? I mean, did the engine light come on? I know there's got to be an indicator in there saying that there's an issue with the oil. For the last 6 months, I would like to be able to see all the work that has been done on that vehicle, whether it was done at DPW or if we had to bring it elsewhere. But I'd like to see all the invoices and all the work orders on that vehicle to get a clear understanding as to why this happened and what happened. We don't even have, this is all we have. We don't even have an invoice. I'd like to see what the invoice is. I'd like to understand all of this.
Because all that's required of Chapter 56-18 is
Well,
that
that does-
I report to council. It did not say I need to provide every document about every oil change. I am just finding out about this now, just as I just found out about Councilman Carlson's questions this morning. I tried to answer him as quickly as I could and got him to her at 3:30.
But this is a vehicle-
Councilman LaBossiniere got questions to the staff shortly after I pushed this memo out to the town council, and I was able to incorporate answers to his questions in tonight's packet.
And this, again, this is a report. I mean, you can have additional information being requested. I assume you could send that additional information.
I am happy to
This is
provide whatever
a
maintenance
report.
records
Okay.
that we have
And I
through the
understand it's a
department.
report, but I think, because you're telling us that this was an emergency and that this maintenance vehicle is, basically, it says right here, an emergency might affect the health, safety, and welfare of the town. I would understand if it was one of our plow trucks. I could understand that, and it's a maintenance vehicle. But I would like to know what kind of work has been done on this vehicle. This is an awful lot of money. Mercedes engines are the workhorse engines. I mean, you can get 500,000 miles out of one of those vehicles. So after we're not even at 130, and we've blown the engine. So I really think we need to understand.
This was a critical piece of equipment to the Facilities Maintenance Department of Public Works. It had been out of service for quite some time. I refused to give the order to let it be repaired at Rhode Island Truck Center until we got at least some other quote. I didn't believe that Rhode Island Truck Center was the only place in Rhode Island that serviced this engine. I didn't. That's why I did a search myself and pulled up Southern Connecticut Freightliner, and I had a second quote produced. It was after that discovery that there's very limited availability of dealerships that can repair this engine, including non-dealer mechanical vendors, that I made the determination that this piece of equipment needed to get repaired. I deemed it an emergency in my capacity as a town manager, and under section 56-18, I'm bringing this report to town council.
I'm glad you're bringing the report, but it does raise a lot of questions, regarding this. And I think this is, and I'll stress again, and I know you're going to love hearing this, but this is why I requested DPW. We have an entire performance audit of that entire department. I mean, things like this, I really need to understand how this happened. I mean, we do have other vehicles over there, so if we had to do sharing for a little while, we really need to. I mean, we needed the money for an audit for the sewer program. Where'd this money come from to pay for this? What was the total cost of all of this?
The total cost, I believe, was $10,500.
And there were no other costs associated with this, so it wasn't,
Give me a second, I have the invoice handy.
so I guess what was the funding source to pay for that?
The total amount paid $10,809.71, and that total consisted of $1,535 for labor, $9,174.71 for parts, $100 miscellaneous charges, to a total of $10,809.71.
Okay, but do I need to do a formal records request, or is it sufficient tonight to ask for all of the work orders? Whether they're at any dealership mechanic outside of the town of Coventry?
I'm sorry, could you please again specify what records you're seeking?
Any maintenance, and
For this specific vehicle?
this
or-
specific vehicle, the 2007 Sprinter, yes, any and all work orders that we have paid out on this vehicle for the last year.
Just for the last year? Nothing further?
Just 1 year. I'll do 1 year. I want to see what we've done. So if we've paid any dealerships, any mechanics outside the town of Coventry, and the regular maintenance schedule, I guess, for this.
Outside or inside?
If it's inside or outside,
Okay.
Okay, Mr. McGee.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I just think that, to make the comment that our maintenance staff would be so incompetent as to use the wrong oil. Machines are machines, they break down, vehicles break down. I think we've continually insult every administrator,
I didn't
every worker.
insult.
You said that our mechanics could have used the wrong oil.
No,
You
I
think
asked
that they're
what
that
kind-
incompetent, that they're gonna use the wrong oil?
All right.
I
No.
think, Mr. Manager, you made a good decision, because it cost, this new vehicle, brand new, would probably have, I'm estimating, probably cost you $50,000 to $60,000. Obviously, the body was, I'm not familiar with the vehicle, but the body was in good shape, small
How do you
price
know
to pay.
that?
I'm saying that if they wouldn't have spent the money if this body was not in good shape. So $10,000 is a lot better than buying a newer vehicle. It's unfortunate that we had a mechanical breakdown, absolutely unfortunate. But, I mean, just to say that the mechanics would use the wrong oil, that's...
I did not say the
All
mechanics
right.
used the wrong oil. I asked.
Information
I
will
did
be
not say
forthcoming.
that.
Thank you, Mr. McGee. Next,
Stop
D,
the word.
D1, Mr. Waters.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Moving right along.
D1 is under license for discussion and or action. We have the renewal of the firearm licenses in pages 61 through 64 of your town council packets.
Okay, and firearms licenses are in order to be renewed. We got the notation there, page 61 through
Mr. President?
64, yes.
I need to recuse myself from item number 1 in the
Okay, so we,
mid-state, from mid-state gun. from
all
the
right,
mid-state
all right,
gun.
so why don't we make a motion then, or a motion to remove on the vote, number 1 Midstate gun at this time, 1200 Tioga Avenue. Do I have a motion to remove it?
Motion to remove it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right, so Midstate has been removed. Nays? No nays. Okay, so the motion, ask for a motion to approve number 2, Hawkins Machine Company, and number 3, Rhode Island Gun Works.
No, take number
Oh.
1 first, so you can come back.
That's true. Why don't we do it that way? All right, a motion to approve Midstate Gun, 1200 Tioga Avenue. All in favor? Oh, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Come on back, Councilman LaBoissoniere. And that's noted, right, Mrs. Lavoy? Okay. All right, next, we have, do I have a motion to approve number 2, Hawkins Machine Company, and number 3, Rhode Island Gun Works?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. D1. All right, D2, Mr. Waters or Mrs. Lavoy, I guess you could probably read it. Page 65, Mr. Waters, I don't care who.
Our deputy clerk's going to take this one.
Jeez.
Renewal of the 90-day peddler license, JoJo's, 77 Isle of Capri.
Okay, and it's applied for a 90-day peddler's license. Now, as a renewal, I guess. Right, page 65, 66, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion made and second. There's no problem, right, Mrs. Lavoy, on this? No. Motion made to approve and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. All right. D3. Mr. Waters, or the chief's not here tonight, is he?
He is
No.
not.
Okay.
You want to take this one, Tim?
Comment, or Mrs. Lavoy?
Private detective renewal, Kevin Beasy.
Okay. At page 67, 68, I guess just 2 pages. Been renewal cleared by the police department, and we have the information there, and this is a renewal. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. D3, D4.
Did you have any?
This is,
I didn't have any information.
Nothing.
me
There's
neither.
nothing
no,
in
we-
here.
yeah, we don't have anything in
We're
our
supposed to get
package,
information on
Mr.
how many
Waters,
licenses.
regarding D4 outside of this had been continued.
Correct.
Did we find the information that might have been requested or was requested in
Sure,
the past?
the questions I have from Councilman Carlson from the last meeting
Yep.
are about mail being delivered to the sites and any students attending schools from the campgrounds.
Okay.
I've determined in my inquisition that there isn't mail being delivered to the campgrounds. However, there might be mail being delivered to the offices. There are individuals that are registered to vote at a couple of the campgrounds, as well as I've heard back from the school superintendent who says one student resides at Water's Edge and one student resides at Ayoho. We believe these are temporary situations. That is the
Okay.
conclusion of my investigation and all I have to report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Waters.
So we have
That,
nothing in writing.
nothing come to us in writing. I guess it could be sent out afterwards if we want it. I take the manager's word on what he's learned back from our superintendent and for other investigations. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the renewal of the campground licenses.
Quick
Oh,
point.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gorham. comment?
The ordinance was amended a few years ago to sort of bifurcate the applications into year-round
Yeah.
or seasonal. And you probably should clarify that.
Okay.
The last time you voted on this, you renewed all of them as year-round. That is giving them the, I don't want to say the right, but they were allowed to have 20% occupancy of the campground in the months where our ordinance would otherwise have prohibited them operating. I don't have those months offhand. I think it's, I think from October to April, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds
So
right.
even though you changed the ordinance, you still gave everyone a year-round renewal the last time that you did this. So if you want to do that again, it's probably better just for the minutes to make it clear that you did that. It's easier for the clerk to issue the license.
Nick, can I just ask something, because I wasn't here then? When you say off-season, October to April, are you talking people can live on the campsites or camp at those campsites? Are we talking,
The campground owners maintain that it's just recreational camping throughout the year. And if I recall, and I'm going by rote memory here, but for example, I believe Mr. Gary Pomfret said that people would come out, they like to camp in the winter, so they come out all year. They come out in the worst months of the year because they enjoy camping at Hickory Ridge during the winter. And I'm sure the same may be true for Water's Edge.
Are these same?
Drawing the line between residency and recreational camping is extremely difficult.
Okay, so I guess I'm
But you
just-
have I think you have under the new ordinance as amended, it was amended, I believe, in late 2015. It does give you the authority to give them only a seasonal license. It used to be that you just gave them one license that allowed them to have the 20% occupancy year-round if they wanted it. Now, you can give them just the seasonal license, or you can give them the year-round subject to the 20%. And I think that was a way to keep good behavior at the campgrounds. Councilwoman Carlson was instrumental in that effort, but I think the idea was, as long as there isn't any evidence that they're really disturbing the neighborhood or otherwise endangering the public health and safety, it's okay to give them that, to allow them to have the year-round camping. It's when it gets out of hand, there are a lot of police calls and so forth, that you have to examine issuing the year-round license a little more carefully. I don't think there are any such reports this year, but that's up to you guys.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out, because, Mr. Waters was saying Water's Edge and, how do you say the other one? A Yoho.
Mhm.
They have one student at each.
Right.
But I know what that would, I don't understand what that means. So my question is, you have to go and show at the school department that you have an electricity bill, that you reside. I know when I registered my kids, they kind of put you through the hoops there. You just don't have, I had to show that I lived in the town of Coventry when I registered over at Ty Oak Elementary. So I'm just concerned that these two campgrounds have folks living there all year.
I don't know how much information we'll get from the school department because of privacy concerns and providing what information you can.
So that tells, do they have bus stops there then?
I
And
did
we
not
have
get that-
students-
I did not get that information back.
And-
The only information I was provided is there's one student resides at Water Edge and one student resides at Yoho. We believe these are temporary situations.
So we're paying for these students. They're not paying taxes to the town of Coventry, right? Do these folks pay taxes? Do we send them a tax
I
bill?
do not have that information.
My experience with the school department is that there's a bias, some would say an appropriate bias, to letting kids go to school, because that's what kids are supposed to do.
Yeah, free appropriate education, I understand that, but I just want to make sure that, so we have two students there, and it appears that the parents don't pay taxes to the town of Coventry.
I have no indication that that's.
I don't know.
Well, if they're males, I'm trying to understand this. This just doesn't. Campground, you can't.
This
you
has
don't
been
reside
going
there,
on
that's all
as
I'm
long
trying
as
to
I have
understand.
lived in Coventry. It has been a debate about whether or not whether it should be allowed. I think.
You're aware of how point of order works before it supersedes the proceedings, so the procedural question can be asked.
Yes.
The president would answer and you go forward. I would like to ask if
Excuse me, is this going to be a question?
Well, he's raising a point of order, and it's because I think we don't follow Robert's Rules of Order, but a legislative body can allow a point of order to be heard. And with all due respect, typically we do allow it, as long as it's short and to the point.
Okay.
And I know
Would he
Mr.
come
Anderson
forward?
represented Mr. Bamford's Enterprises, which are a Yoho and Water's Edge, so with your permission.
Sure, but I'm just saying, does the gentleman come forward
Yeah,
to the mic?
yes.
That's what my question is. Come on forward, sir. Thank you. Okay. Good evening. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, folks. Chris Anderson, 321 South Main Street, Coventry. My point of order is very simple. I'd like to know if procedurally the applicants are going to be allowed to speak and address issues that are raised by the board. 2 years ago, I raised the same point of order, and the answer was that it was customary that such courtesy was allowed.
It's not a public hearing, but it's their license if they want to come forward. May I make a suggestion?
Certainly.
Why don't we leave it that the council will ask for someone to come forward if they have concerns about whether the license should be renewed?
That's fine. I'm hearing a discussion on facts, and before we get too many alternate facts on the record, there are people who know the answers to the questions that you're bandying about amongst yourselves.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the information. With all due respect to Mr. Anderson, I'm not entirely sure that was a point of order, but he got it in anyway. So anyway, I think what he's asked.
Mr. Solicitor, did you have a?
I think what he's
follow-up
asked is
point?
just if you want, you can inquire of them, which you should do if you have
anybody
questions.
wanted.
Yeah, the applicants.
Okay, Mr. McGee.
I'm just wondering why we allowed a point of order. We're not following Robert's rules. We've never done this in the past. I mean, if we had questions, we could have addressed them, but I know we are trying to keep the peace, but we're also conducting a meeting. It was not a public hearing. I think we should have just gone on with our procedure, and then if we had any questions, we could have asked.
This is where I draw upon my rich and deep experience being on the other side.
I know.
And I used to raise points of order, and I was never rejected. So,
all right.
You know.
So we have the motion in front of us for the renewal of these campground licenses. It's in front of us. Any additional questions?
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so I have an email here from Nick that went to Caroline Wells and Brian Wagner with copies to Graham and Debbie Lavoie. And he said, "Hi Caroline, this is a follow-up to my email of just a few minutes ago," which, no, I don't actually have that one. Okay. As I indicated, the licenses for the town's 3 campgrounds are up for renewal Monday night. It's important that someone determine before Monday night what licenses each of the 3 campgrounds has, 20 seasonal or 20% year-round. And number 2, if they do have the latter license, are they in compliance, i.e., are they allowing year-round occupancy? Caroline's response, when I know we discuss this every year, "Hi, attached is a draft letter," and I apologize, I did not print the letter. I don't know why I didn't do that. But her response is, "Attached is a draft letter to campground owners regarding year-round campers, particularly those using the campground as a permanent address. This is problematic because the zoning ordinance states that campgrounds by definition are seasonal. However, the licensing protocol under the town code says that year-round recreational camping may be permitted at no greater than 20% capacity if, in the discretion of the town council, such year-round camping will have no adverse effect upon health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the campground and the surrounding community. Year-round camping is not seasonal. I have attached the new rules for Water's Edge, and they clearly allow non-seasonal usage. Has town council permitted this for Water's Edge, and how does that square with zoning?" So obviously Caroline has a concern that we are not following our camping zoning ordinance. Now, my question every year is, if you've got a mailbox and yes, Nick, I know, you're rubbing your forehead.
Well, because I talked to her and she doesn't have a concern.
Well, then she
That
didn't say it
preceded,
here.
that preceded my explanation to her of
Oh,
how
this is what I got.
the campground ordinance is intertwined with the zoning ordinance. And
Well-
you're right, the zoning ordinance says seasonal camping.
Right.
And then it has a notation that says requires council license, and the council
Right.
license does allow it. It does allow seasonal
Seasonal
and year-round camping.
Camping. But I have had direct knowledge that there are residents at the campgrounds because one of the owners told me so. So my point is, you're getting mail, you got kids in school, you're a resident, you're not paying taxes.
And they can vote.
What?
Did we say
Well-
we have some that are registered?
Well,
Oh, and are there registered voters? I don't know. I guess we could look that up. Camping is camping. You come on the weekend, you stay maybe over a few days during the week. These are people with homes. And I talked to one who sold his house in Johnston or somewhere and moved into the campground because it was less expensive for him. Of course it was. He's not paying taxes. It's not camping.
Nick,
And if we don't, and I also think we need to take these individually like we normally do and not vote as a group, all 3. And see,
We can go individually if you want.
this is not the same as camping.
Nick, can
And
I?
also, excuse me, one more thing. From planning and zoning, the campgrounds were inspected, quote-unquote, annually during the license renewal process, usually in November. Well, actually, November's probably the worst time because people aren't camping. The zoning department is supposed to send somebody out there in the summer a couple times at the high season to see if they're exceeding the number of campsites also. If they didn't go to November, we have no idea.
Well, it sounds like we don't have any of that data, is what you're suggesting. I don't know that we don't have it. I was just asked a legal question
Yes.
about
The same one you get asked every year.
right, about the interaction between
Right.
the campground ordinance and the zoning ordinance. And I think the campground ordinance, particularly the way we revised it, gives the council the authority, to either limit camping to seasonal or to allow it throughout the year, subject to the 20% capacity. And if you're not in favor of the 20% capacity, my recommendation is to vote no on the licenses. But
I have a
Mr.
comment.
President, from what my recollection was that we amended the ordinance because there were concerns that there may be problems over the winter months, and that if you revoked a person's license because there was a problem in the winter months, it was for the entire, you in essence, put them out of business. But we adjusted we amended the ordinance to give us an option that if they were having winter problems, to say, okay, that's it. You're not, you're not doing it in the winter anymore because there were problems, and it would leave them in business for that season.
For camping.
Exactly, for everything.
But
And then,
not living
but from the explanation,
full-time.
you're right. But and I agree. And believe me, nobody was fought for that more before they changed the ordinance the first time than I did. The explanation that when we visited one of a couple of the campgrounds, et cetera,
We were
were
only
that
allowed on one at Hickory Ridge.
but when we visited, well, you may have only been allowed on one. I was invited on another one, so
Well, as
I went on a few
council,
of them.
we're supposed to
So, but the explanation that got at Hickory Ridge and was Mr. Pomfret came in and stated that there are many times that people come over the course of the winter and they're working in this state from out of state, and they come in for 3-4 months at a time, maybe over the course of the winter. So in essence, are they camping? No, not really. That's not considered camping, but it gives them an outlet, a place to move in without having to, in a more affordable fashion. That is what, again, not knowing who is at the sites presently. But from what I saw in the last package, there were no concerns with police or fire or anybody else that they had any wintertime problems at this point in time.
I do recall pretty much what you're
McGee.
saying. My only concern that I have, and I'm all for, there are people that work in construction that come in and they're seasonal, they want to work. Are there people that are living there full-time? I don't know. I mean, probably, but we're going by what we went and visited the place to see. I have issues with a student attending our schools and not paying the taxes. In fairness to the rest I understand the student deserves the right to have an education, but I have issues when the rest of our taxpayers in town. That's why I would really like to find out how temporary this is.
Well, I recall a conversation with Mrs. Shirtliff at one point in time that there were actually kids getting dropped off and walking down the bike path and walking into a tent because they were now homeless, but they were attending school.
I understand that, and the kid, and they're not laying the child.
And again, so it's something that. Maybe it's temporary, maybe not, but again, the privacy laws that were stated are going to be
That's a tough one. I mean,
It's a
absolutely,
tough
the kid
call.
enjoys has got to have an education, but in fairness to the rest of the taxpayers, maybe that parent should be paying some tuition to attend our school system,
Again, and I think that's probably for the superintendent or the school systems to determine.
Absolutely. I mean, we should investigate
and what the
that.
legality of doing that is. I'm sure they've had their legal opinions.
That's not what we're voting on tonight, but that's my issue.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, then we have-
Questions asked, and
Then the question is this camping, seasonal camping, or is this living? Is this a residence? And that's against the ordinance.
Well, that's for our zoning department to determine, and they've cleared everything.
do you agree, Mr.?
Well, I don't know if they've cleared everything.
No.
I don't
we
think
first
they've
got
cleared everything. They raised some concerns
Yeah.
about as I said, the interaction between the campground ordinance and the zoning ordinance. I don't think the zoning and planning department ever set out to solve or to figure out if people were camping there or residing there. And, you know, if you want to take a vote tonight and you're not comfortable with the situation there with what sounds like some folks having children being sent to school from two of the campgrounds, then I guess you can vote against it.
Well, what if we table this and we did a little more investigation? And the
Can do
school
that,
department,
too.
Do an investigation. And, I mean, I just think it's fair to the rest of us taxpayers, is find out if it's a temporary and it's a hardship, I don't have any problem with that. But if it's a permanent situation, I have a problem with that.
Right.
Well, they
Definitely an
weren't,
option.
There weren't
We-
anybody there last year,
Right.
from what we knew, so.
The vote last year was a unanimous vote. Everyone voted aye to renew all three licenses for a year-round 20% in the winter.
Okay.
I didn't see anything in the minutes that indicated anything from zoning or planning or any other department. And if you want to table it and look into it, that's what we did a couple of years ago. Councilman LaBoisonere is correct. I think we had a town council meeting at Hickory Ridge so that we could get a better idea of exactly what was going on there.
We asked to go to Waters Edge.
Right, and they said no. I know, they said no.
I'm
not listening
to you.
Well, okay,
All right.
whatever.
So, all right.
We can table it and
We
look
can-
into it a little more, and you can make a decision about the year-round. I just want to correct one thing about the ordinance as I see it, that Councilman LaBoisonere brought up. I think that if there is activity at the campground during any time of year, the council has the authority to consider suspending the year-round operation. It doesn't have to be in the summer or in the winter. It can be at any time.
But the main discussion that I recall was the fact that there was concerns that there would be problems over the winter months. And this was a way to do an option that, okay, so, if they had an issue there. That's just my recollection.
Okay, all right. Well, it's up to the council at this point. Thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion, either to approve one at a time, or if we want to table.
I don't have, again, I think that if there were problems.
I think we would have heard
A
about
license
it.
could be, we could always suspend or revoke a license if there was a problem.
I would be
I don't
willing
think
to
it's a
vote
question
for it,
of
but
problems.
I really would like to have the town manager speak to the superintendent, find out if this is just a temporary. I know
All right.
you did state it was temporary, and I don't doubt it, but just want to make sure, I understand, like I said, a hardship is a hardship, and, it's fine.
So you asking the table?
No, I'm saying I would be willing to vote for it because we could cancel it any time. Am I correct?
You're
in
right.
saying that?
You're
Mr.
right.
Lewis?
We
Back
can-
on the agenda, you know it won't.
You have to give extensive due process before you can revoke a license.
And I'm asking to table it until we can find that information out. I think in another couple of weeks, it's not going to make a big difference. I mean, just to make everybody, satisfied and myself.
So that the licenses, in essence, at this point, would be.
Continue on.
Would be
Entertainment.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to deprive them from,
Since
Just extend it.
the town council is considering whether to renew the license, and we're not closing them down, I
Okay.
don't see any jeopardy to them.
Okay.
We did this before for several months, if I'm not mistaken, in the same context. There were concerns about people living there as opposed to just camping there temporarily, and we
my only concern is the school children. That's my only concern. The rest of it, I'm completely fine with.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, the last time we dug into this issue, the school department said that they could not provide the records pertaining to the school children, and they may be right.
Okay,
So
I mean,
we
if
may
it's
not
just
get
like-
to the bottom of this, but
Can
putting it off for a couple weeks doesn't hurt.
Can they at least just provide date of enrollment, not asking who the child is, the age of the child, grade of the child, school of the child, just date of enrollment into
I
a
don't
Coventry
know.
public
There's-
school?
Well, all right.
I
think.
I'm not their lawyer, and I'm not
Right.
going to speak
Yeah,
for
I
the
think-
town and the school
Just asking.
department.
If we want to inquire, I guess we can table it for another meeting. If I get a motion to table to do this inquisition. Okay, that was second? Second. Table, it. Okay, and we'll find out what we can on the questions that were raised.
When are we going to take it up again?
Next meeting.
Okay,
Is
thank
that
you.
not good?
I think that's helpful to the people who are here.
Right,
Yes.
right. And again, do we invite the individuals from the, just in case? Is that an invitation to attend?
You mean the applicants?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
all right.
they it's up
Okay.
to them whether to attend,
Okay.
but I would.
All right, so motion made and seconded to table till the next meeting, which would be the 22nd of January 2018. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, table to the next meeting. All right, now we're down to E. We have E, Mr. Waters. I see E, I don't know if there's a package of E1 or E, is E2,
E1 is separate from the E2. E1 is discussion on extending the sewer program moratorium.
a discussion, but we have nothing in the package?
You do, you have the existing resolution that the council voted for.
You got B5? E1 I'm looking for. Okay, so it's under B5 then, okay, I know, I saw it somewhere. Out of order. All right, B5, which is actually like E1, right? All right.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so this is being brought before the council in consideration that the audit is being conducted, that the moratorium, I've heard from a couple council members that they would like to have it extended, as well as the general feeling that the survey that was referenced in the resolution would not prove useful to resolving any of the sewer issues. So I thought it'd be useful to have a discussion amongst the town council to see if, A, you'd like to continue the moratorium longer than the February deadline, the original 120 days, and B, if you would like to change the parameters of the resolution to move out the survey and just have it limited to the moratorium. So that was the point of having this on the agenda. Discuss.
Okay, and again, I'm just wondering, E1, is that agenda item B5, is that what we're having? No, there's another B5. Oh, page 55, okay. Page 55. All right, page 55, got it. All right, so that's E1. Okay.
Well, I personally am in favor of extending the moratorium until we can get, I mean, we can go another 120 days and bring it back, but I would really like to get results of this firm that's going to do our audit, and so
Okay.
I'm in favor of extending it, and also if you feel as though that survey might not be good at this time, if we feel after the audit from that company that it would be useful, then we can always institute it again, but I'm for that, I think a lot depends on what Citron, and I forget the name of the company, but what they're gonna be doing. I think a lot's gonna, Citron and Cooper, yeah, so I'm in favor of postponing it until we get some results of our audit.
I agree.
Is it worded correctly, Mr. Quorum?
This is,
We voted on.
Oh. Reference, all right, just for reference. All right.
so we could amend, I'm sorry.
The idea is to bring a resolution forward on the 22nd.
Okay.
Just to have discussions.
All right, so that
Okay.
doesn't take a motion, that's just like
Yeah, because
direction.
we're not up with it yet.
Right, so just a good idea to bring it forward, okay. I think so, so we don't have to vote on it. All right, E2 then.
So we're going to have discussion if we're going to change anything on this, or? Because I was just going to suggest.
Oh, all right, I didn't know we needed discussion
Well, no,
outside of
yeah, well, no.
extending it, but go ahead.
Yeah, because, that's not the draft of the.
Right.
This
not
is
the
our,
draft.
What's that?
no. This is the
From
original.
before, right.
Yes.
I got that.
Original one.
Yes.
Just to extend.
Just to extend, but
yeah.
if we use the same, so are we going to do an entire new resolution? Or are we just going to amend this resolution?
So the idea was to do a resolution extending the moratorium. It would cancel out the survey from the previous moratorium.
So basically, under 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're only, so we could eliminate, if you look at the very bottom, 2, 3, and 4, because now that we have this audit being taken place, I don't think we need any of this other. I mean, because
Yes.
all we need it now to say
Just to-
is to carry out the temporary suspension. We don't need Weston and Sampson
Okay.
to look at the sewer subcommittee, Weston and Sampson and the sewer subcommittee to look at the 2016 sewer facilities plan, tongue twister. So we really don't need any of that. We can put a hold on all of that.
Correct.
So we could eliminate all of those.
I'll draft a resolution that will cancel the first resolution, but extend the
And just-
moratorium.
Extension of the moratorium
Right.
only.
As a quick related matter to that, we do have Mr. Gorham, who's reviewing the previous resolutions that pertain to the sewer subcommittee, and we will be proposing that the council consider it at the next council meeting on the 22nd.
Okay.
Okay, are we going to go date specific or just X number of days from the end of the?
I was just going to
moratorium?
propose an additional 120 days.
Another 4 months.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
So. through
Well,
the-
that'll
maybe
be
through the
coming
end
to
of
us.
the fiscal year.
yeah, when that comes through, okay, okay,
All right.
right, thank you.
Okay. So we're down to E2 then. E2, Mr. Waters. On,
This, yes, this is another item
Idea.
that has
Yep.
come back to the council from the legislative
Right.
meeting.
yep.
This is a resolution asking Congressman Langevin to request that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, consider reassessing the flood insurance rate map firm for the town of Coventry for properties in proximity to Lake Tioga. This was a
Right.
result of the legislative meeting where I believe it was Representative Sturtliff.
Serpa.
Excuse me, Serpa.
Serpa.
Excuse me, misspoke there. Said that she had something similar done with the town of West Warwick. Mr. Gorham reached out to Representative Serpa and had her send over a copy of what West Warwick did, and we modified it for the town of Coventry and our needs.
That is correct. That was my next question. Is that correct, Mr. Gorham? All right. All right, so that's in front of us. And obviously, it's an attempt. And the 7th day of January 2018. We all have that. Any questions regarding it? Okay. All in favor of E2?
Make a motion?
That's true.
Yeah.
You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we.
All right, who
send
wants to
this-
second it?
I'll second that one.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, E2's passed. There we go. All right, we're down to F, public comment, general public comment. Yes, sir, come on forward. And for the record, name and address, please.
James LeBlanc, 43 Hazard Street.
Good evening.
Good evening. So I believe that tonight's confusion comes from the actual town council agenda. It says that an audit is going to be completed. So if an actual audit, if Citron Cooperman and Company, if they're truly completing an audit, once they are finalized with it, the town's going to receive an independent auditor's report that is going to include an audit opinion. They're also going to receive audited financial statements of the Sewer Enterprise Fund with footnote disclosures. They're also going to receive a management letter inclusive of any findings, if applicable, and a letter regarding significant matters related to the audit, including but not limited to responsibilities of the auditor and the town management, overview of the scope and timing of the financial statement audit, significant accounting practices, including policies, estimates, and disclosures. So based off of what Mr. Jeremiah stated tonight. It's actually a consulting agreement and not an audit.
Okay, again, I think was clarified, the definition, terminology, and the town solicitor answered that. So what it is how we voted. And that will
So will
become
we get
the
all
way
those
the
things?
town manager will be working with the firm, and that's basically it. Audit, again,
Well,
we
I hope
don't
we get
feel
all
like
those
it had to
things
be changed, and I appreciate your comments and your opinion, but we have legal advice up here.
Okay, I'm not done.
All right.
So, since Citron Cooperman will only be
Thank you
completing
for your comments, and again, you're not up here. Thank you. Go ahead.
Since Citron Cooperman will only be completing procedures asked of them by the town council and town administration, as they said it was going to be a fluid consulting agreement, after reading the proposal provided, it appears as though this is a very narrow scope of items and documents that they will be reviewing. In my opinion, there were material items missing that should also be reviewed since we are actually spending this money. They should also be compiling and reviewing. The proposal indicates that the accounting firm will review a description of the history of the town's sewer projects prepared by the town's engineer consultants or financial advisors, if applicable. This is not acceptable, in my opinion. I would propose that the accounting firm develops their own history, starting from 1983, when the first intermunicipal agreement was signed, and review all material contracts, such as the Amgen agreement, which Amgen provided $6 million, and the town also contributed an additional $6 million. The Anthony Mills, the Harris Mills, the Industrial Drive contract, especially that one, and any and all sewer line and pump station purchases. They should also review all sewer subcommittee meeting minutes. This is an advisory board, but they do make decisions that sometimes don't actually end up coming to the town council. I am proposing that they also review those from the beginning. Complete compliance testing related to cash disbursements to ensure proper procedures were followed or need to be established by the town administration, because we have seen certain change orders came to town council 7 months after they were actually paid. So I would just like to make sure some internal control testing is completed. They should also complete compliance testing related to awarding contracts and ensuring that the town properly advertised and provided appropriate time for companies to provide their bids, because I saw many times in the sewer subcommittee minutes that only one company provided a bid. We're the 7th largest municipality. I highly doubt only one company would provide a bid. Just my opinion. They should also assist with the segregation of sewer assessment payments and sewer use fees from the general fund bank account to the sewer funds bank account, as per guidance per Title 45-59 of Rhode Island's general laws. The last thing I want to mention is the letter discussed to Representative Nunes. The bill, which officially has been introduced effective January 3rd, 2018, is not preventing the town from having a sewer program. It is providing homeowners the ability to choose when they want to connect. The bill is just not allowing the town to mandate the astronomical sewer assessments on homeowners at the point in which the tax assessor and town administration wishes to do so. For anyone in the audience, the House bill I'm referring to is House Bill 7051. Furthermore, if the town and the outside engineers do their homework, and after all planning, designing, construction, inclusive of all change orders, has been completed, and perhaps the town obtains grant funding, the resulting calculated assessments could be affordable. And then perhaps the homeowners in those areas will rightfully choose to connect and start paying those assessments immediately. And the town can have the sewer system it so desires. So I think, I don't understand why we would need to delay that bill if it gives us the right to choose when we want to connect. 7051.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else, general public comment? Yes, sir. Good evening and Happy New Year.
Ron Gillarelli, 50 Harrington Road in Coventry. Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity to address the council. I haven't been around for quite some time. I lost my wife, Grace, a couple of years ago, and my life has been pretty busy since then, but I've kind of come back to be helpful where I can and be respectful, as I always have been, on any issues that I believe that the town could have some help on, based on all my experience, including Robert's Rules of Order, teaching it for over 40 years as a labor leader. And I just wanted to say that it's important that that we have as much democracy as we can, Mr. President. I know sometimes we've had very long meetings in the past with both this board and also others, but the president has that capability of saying you got 1 minute, or 5 minutes, or 3 minutes, just to get public input. So we don't have to come back at the council, have litigation or whatever from all groups. So I'm trying to be helpful to the council. I think it's very important. We've had this past practice in the past, which I think could be respectfully recognized, that whenever there was any kind of licenses, the president or someone would always ask, is there anyone here for or against the license? That way, they had their opportunity, and if they don't come forward, nobody can have problems with the town council passing or rejecting licenses. That would be helpful under Robert's rules and the past practice of the council. The other one is that I'd like to mention is the sewer. I haven't been involved in it except behind the scenes with a lot of people who have been active on the sewers, because it was determined by many of the taxpayers in town. And remember, it isn't just the taxpayers owning the property. It's their families, their visitors, and the hereditary sale of properties, or getting it and leaving it to family members. So the future is important, and there's more like 2,000 or 3,000 people that I've estimated to be involved here that can be affected by what happens with sewer costs. We need sewers, of course, because of Tioga Lake, and since we're set on a hill, which, and a lot of people haven't talked about this in years, we're really an artificial body of water, man-made. And maybe we could do something with that on several other issues. I've already done some investigation, made contacts, both with Washington as well. This is going to go to Congress, Mr. President, based on unjust enrichment going on with all kinds of situations involving reverse mortgages and regular mortgages, whether people that are handicapped, older, and lose their pension from one partner or another, as you can't have a reverse mortgage until you're 62 years of age or more. And I think the insurance company, just quickly, the insurance company, the mortgage companies have a right to put what they charge you to protect themselves on the reverse mortgage equity in your property, but they're not allowing what the people who own the property, especially when they're older and don't have that much money to survive, to put that also on the equity of the property. I think it's long overdue, excuse me, that this has been looked at nationally, and since I have a lot of extra time now, I'm going to be seeing if I can do something at the congressional level as well, and I've talked to several of our senators and representatives about it. So, getting back to sewers, I've been on the lake since my grandparents, 1946, bought it, and I have a septic system, and many other people on the lake. We've gone around and helped some of our waterfront and watershed properties to be able to help them do something about the sewer systems whenever we thought they were giving us problems in the lake, because some of the old houses have 55-gallon drums for septic systems. So we really need a change ultimately. We've talked about it, but it has to be financially, done in a way that the people can afford. These old mill houses, I mean, some of them are very small, have one big large room and a bathroom. They're still around because they were built somewhere in the 20s and 30s and 40s. So a lot of the people really have a difficulty. They don't think they have a problem when they don't have a mortgage, Mr. President, but when they go to resell a house, the house could be more valuable if they don't need flood insurance. And they don't need to pay that in cash every year with their homeowner's insurance, which they have to pay that's not put on the equity, as an example, on reverse mortgage. So this is very complicated, and while we need to make sure that the town can do this in a way that can be afforded, the assessments, from I've heard, anywhere from $17,000 to $30,000, and even if you have your own septic system you put in earlier, several years ago, which was accepted by DEM and everything, you still have to pay that money when you go buy the property, and that to me seems something we have to look at very deeply to determine if that should be appropriate or they should be exempted after some kind of proper inspection with no political dimension to it. So my thinking is we've got to look at the sewer thing. I believe in the moratorium. It says tonight it could have been discussion and or action. You could have put some action into it and put the moratorium effective tonight, indefinitely, and then come up with another date when you want to end it, and that would save that problem for Robert's Rules of Order and what the town council can have aggravation with extra calls to our town manager or to you or to our different council. So I was saying that on the sewers, I think it's super important that we do something that the owners and the taxpayers and their families can afford, and I know you're trying to do that. And then going way back to the beginning, from what I understand, I've been retired 23 years, and some things have changed. That that performance versus a forensic audit is much different. Forensic audit means you can go to public, you can go into any court or anything, and you have data that protects the positions you're taking. If you don't get that information from this company and it's just advice, then you're going to find out that that may not help you. Now, if you can get that answer for 37 grand, maybe it's cheap enough to get some of those answers if you can get what you need. But if you don't, if the Auditor General comes in and does that, I don't think they can do anything that the town wouldn't be able to survive from, and it wouldn't cost you anything. That's an option you should consider, because they're going to do a forensic audit. Now, maybe there's some things we don't want to find out. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes, whether they're intentional or not, Mr. President. So that would be good to go all the way back and look at that, but how is that going to help us determine what the actual cost of assessment's going to be? That's only part of the problem. So I don't know about bonding or anything else that we can do. I think it's important to find something as cheap as we can, including that assessment would be just partial or all small payments of some kind that can be afforded based on some kind of assessment by bringing people in on what their capability is financially, or that it don't happen until you sell the property.
Thank you, Mr. Ghisarelli. We're
Okay,
looking into all of that.
One
and
last
it's
thing.
Okay,
One last
and it's a fluid motion, and it's certainly our goal for
Okay.
sure.
The last thing is,
All right.
is the FEMA. All I'm asking for is that it just be a little clearer on the resolution that's been submitted, that and/or, so we might be able to take out the whole Lake of Tioga, Lake Tioga. You own that lake. You have liabilities and responsibilities, the riparian rights. So I think this is important to the town to get the whole lake reclassified as a man-made body of water, artificial, so no one has to pay insurance and the town is no longer liable on flood insurance. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? General public comment? Yes, sir. Good evening.
Tom Force here, 30 Laurie Lane. I want to thank the council for looking into the campground. And I have some information that I can share with Mr. Waters from the previous town solicitor. Huh? No, I got some, I'm going to give it to Mr. Waters, some information before the next meeting. And it's concerning residency according to our rules and regulations that we have in place. And it says if they have mailboxes and they're receiving mail, that's kind of considered residency. And, you know, the previous, I guess, I don't know when he was town council president, but the owner of Hickory Ridge is the one that got the ordinance changed as 20%. That can be year-round residency. And a few years ago, I gave a package to the council. Some of the members are new, but the previous council had some information that I got from a private investigator, because our zoning officer and our planning officer, they weren't doing their job, and nobody did anything about it. So, you know, I think it's wrong that somebody can become a council member and change a ruling for his benefit. And that's why it's so confusing with residency, camping, and, you know, year-round camping is wrong, because it's year-round residency. For the last 6 years, the same trailers are been in the same place. And it's a horrible situation out there. And when you say the public safety of, you know, the surrounding residents, I mean, the police have been down there so many times. Just 3 weeks ago, there was 3 police cars, a rescue, and a fire truck. I mean, they're constantly going in the campground. I think we have something like 43 pages of times that the police have been down to the campground. We haven't seen that kind of traffic probably in a neighborhood in 10 years. And you say that there's nothing wrong. Eventually, something's going to blow up out there because there's no CO inspections. People just come in, they hook up to the water, and they hook up to the sewers. And then, if they don't pay their rent, they pull the meter, and they turn the water off. Get out. And he's been into court because he's actually moved trailers up in the road going out just to tell them to get out of the field. I mean, it's a bad situation, and it shouldn't be allowed because it's in the ordinance. It says no year-round residency. And these people are year-round residency, and the taxpayers of Coventry, we got kids going to school, and it's not fair that we pay taxes and they don't.
Look into it, thank you. Anyone else, general comments? Good evening.
Good evening. Janice Stinson, 670 Naughty Oak Road. So first, just a general note for all of you sitting up here. I've said it before. During district reports, each of you are given time to report events, goings-on, concerns for your district. It's important for your district constituents to know that you're listening and addressing their concerns. It's also important that you equally show interest. Show, if not concern, at least fake some interest to the reports of your co-council men and women. This goes to all of you, everyone sitting up on the panel. I mean, we sit back here, all of us, everyone watching the video, all of the audience, we sit here, we watch your behaviors. You exasperate us. You exasperate me, obviously. Our children watch you. They watch you roll your eyes. They watch you look away and ignore the person speaking, whichever one of you it is. And I'm sorry, but you all do it. That's not respectful. That's not professional. That's not what we should be showing anyone outside of our town. It shouldn't be showing your town, but you shouldn't be showing anyone outside of our town either. That's just horrible. I'm sorry. This is not the exemplary or even minimally respectful behavior that I expect of my district councilman, nor any of you. I do get passionate about speaking up for residents, especially when it appears, in my opinion, that the elected officials are not speaking on their behalf. I will try my best, I'll really try, not to allow you to annoy me as much. I'd like you all as well to pledge that you will act more professionally as you represent our town. Okay, so getting on. Graham Waters, we pay you a salary, approximately $120,000 or so. Are you responsible to oversee any of the other town departments? You are. Okay. So do you oversee the DPW director? You do. So you're his boss, he's not yours. Okay. He doesn't oversee you. Does he oversee the clerks in your office? No. Okay. So you are the town manager. It is your responsibility to make sure that things are done accordingly. Correct. Okay. Did you instruct the DPW director to perform 32 hours of work to do clerical duties at his 6-figure salary? You don't know. That's something that you should know whether you did instruct him or not. Okay. Did you, I can tell you, and actually the woman next to you, I'm sorry, Debbie Lavoie, can tell you that a records request that I requested, the answer back from the DPW director was that it was going to take him numerous hours to research the files. That is not something that a DPW director at a 6-figure salary should ever be doing. Correct? It falls upon you. because I know that you are aware of that, because the email was also sent and forwarded to you. You are fully aware that a request to pull a file, he says, is going to take 32 hours to do. If it takes him 32 hours to do that, he shouldn't be there. It takes a clerical secretary, maybe a few hours. If you are ultimately responsible for him, if you are instructing him or allowing him to do so, then you are mismanaging this town administration. Absolutely. So that's all of our wasted tax dollars. In the town council discussion regarding the white maintenance vehicle engine repair, to quote your words, you were instructed by the DPW director that the place he found is the only place to repair it. You also said that you wanted to look at another place and that there was no other place at all that would do that work. But obviously other people up on this panel did their own work when they didn't have to and shouldn't have to, because they entrust you, the town manager, to make sure it is done correctly. And obviously, based on your words, you're getting your instructions from the DPW director. That's not how it's supposed to run. So therefore, maybe he or someone else in his place should be making your salary. I'm sorry, but if you did that anywhere else, in any other business, you would be gone.
Thank you, ma'am.
So
we're
my
not
question
here
is,
to
who is the town
drill
manager?
the town manager right now, all right?
Who runs the town?
Public comment, and that's good.
And I don't expect that you have
All
the
right.
authority to ask, so maybe you'll have to ask someone else to instruct you on the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else before we adjourn? Yes, sir, in the rear. Good evening again. Name and address one more time for the record.
Chris Anderson. This time I'll use my personal address, 2115 Harkney Hill Road.
Thank you.
The truck. For what it's worth, I had a 1996 diesel engine rebuilt at Simplex in Providence. It cost me $6,000. I don't know why I need to buy a new one. We could rebuild the one you have. In any event, as to Mr. Colwell's comments, I did a few follow-ups and perhaps to share some information that wasn't being shared when the campground was being discussed before. I can't help but notice the irony of Mr. Colwell complaining about things that were done for decades under his family's management of the same property. He mentioned repeated visits by the police. Let's ask the police. In fact, I think they gave you a report, and the police said, this is a fine operation in town. We don't have a problem with the visits coming to this place. We want people to call us if there's a problem. So I appreciate the comment, but maybe we could go right to the source and ask them. I think they've already provided a report. The two students in the schools, I appreciate the comment about taxpayers having to pay for students in the schools. First of all, I believe your report was that they were temporary. This happens all the time. Had you asked us, we could have addressed the two students because we know who they are. We'll share that information as far as we know it if the school can't provide that information. Yes, we believe, in fact, there's only one, there was a transient situation, a grandmother that took in her kids for a momentary period of time because it needed to happen. We'll provide what information we can about the two students we know. I would like to mention the tax issue. I agree with you. Taxes pay for the schools. This land is being taxed at a business tax rate. Many of the trailers, the personal property tax is being collected. If you were to do a cost-benefit analysis of what the town gets for that campground versus what it would get if there were house lots with students in it, you would find you were getting far more money off that property than you would be otherwise. And if a couple of transient students come in now and then, that's not going to change the math there. It's been mentioned mail is an indication of residency. Wasn't the report that mail wasn't going there? It was going to the offices of the property? It's a business. The campground gets mail. I think the suggestion that residency is based on mail was just disproven because mail does not go to the campground. Oh, and finally, I have been hearing now for 2 years this council misstate that they were denied access to Waters Edge Campground as a town council. Nothing could be further from the truth. This started with a number of phone calls between the town manager and myself, who represented Mr. Bamford. And rather than go back and forth on the phone, I came into Mr. Hoover. I said, Mr. Hoover, here's a letter. I said, all we're asking is why? What are we going to accomplish at this meeting? Why are we doing it? And I got a response letter back from Miss Izzo of Mr. Gorham's firm saying, you know what? Forget it. We're not interested in doing a meeting there anymore. You turned us down. I have it in writing. We never denied you access, and in fact, I was present when Mr. Bamford, I was there with you, in fact, Ms. Carlson, when you went and toured the campground with us. You were not denied access. That is absolutely not true. That's true. It was before that. There was also an open invitation. Anytime you wanted to come down, Mr. Bamford said, you are welcome to come down to this property. And when the town council as a group asked to go, we didn't say no. We never said no. I did all this in writing, and I defy you to show me that writing where I said, no, you are not welcome to come to this campground. Did not happen. I would appreciate if that misrepresentation would stop being made. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Public comment? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn. A second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Good evening. Drive careful.